Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Hello, Matt Josh.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Hiya.
Are you good or good?
Wow.
No, I'm good. Like I said, I only
Okay.
got 4 mildly annoying / threatening tweets last night. It was a quiet night.
Nice.
We're good.
What, 3 hours and 14 minutes was the
Totally normal length of a Tuesday baseball game.
It's kind
I
of
was happy about
a
it.
somewhat kind of normal game in the fact that, Nebraska got up by 4 and kind of just held the ship and
Got it by 8.
it was 8-4.
It was
It was
8-0.
Yeah.
I clearly was
Matt
following the game.
had 4
You were
TVs
there.
and none of them were on the Husker baseball
So you
game.
can watch all of these sports.
You were at Lefters, which
I
is a
was.
half a block away from the stadium. You didn't just walk in.
I actually didn't really get to Lefties until like 7:45.
Could have just walked into the ballpark.
Well, I was going on my hot girl walk, and I was just kind of walking around. I was walking around the
You could have
stadium.
walked in the stadium
Correct.
I've done that before.
and gotten your
The-
walk out
The last Nebraska Creighton game. That's
You could've
exactly
walked
what I
with my
did.
son and I. You'd have been like way out in front of us.
Yeah.
He can't walk.
You
at
could have
all.
saw the Husk bus.
The last time I actually walked on the concourse of a Creighton Nebraska game, there were some people. There was one guy in particular who knew who I was giving me a very dirty look the entire time. It just kind of caught me off guard.
You could have seen a lot of
I
things
think he
last
didn't
night.
like my takes. Yeah, that's so I've been
I had
told.
the
A lot of things were out there.
A lot of people like, hey, good to see you out and about. Listen to you on 1620 in the morning.
They were mad that Schaefer got fired out of
He
positivity.
was.
I
there was-
did get one of those.
There was one guy who came up to me the last time I went on a walk at a Nebraska game, and he was like, "Yeah, listening to the radio. I don't agree with a lot of what he said, but I enjoy listening to you."
That's
I'm like,
cool.
Great.
It works.
Sounds good.
We'll take that.
So, no, I did. I was walking around the stadium, and I also was like on the phone with people that I hadn't talked to.
Did you see the fireworks show?
No, I didn't. I was watching games. At that point, I was in the bar.
Really made some of those post-game Nebraska tweets really pop.
They were just firing them off
The thing is, dumb
minute
about
by
that, though,
minute.
like, so part of the social media thing is you want to maximize your output in terms of your reach, right? Well, if you continue to tweet over top of your tweets,
That's right.
it minimizes your outreach.
Exactly.
And so
I'd rather do one big tweet
yeah.
than 4 baby tweets. I have a dream of one big tweet one day.
Is that your dream?
Clearly, Nebraska baseball does
Here's
it.
the problem, though. Connor's big tweet is just, wow.
Didn't
Retweeted
see that
6
coming.
times.
I almost did a big tweet last night, but I decided against it. If you sign up, though, for my burner text service, it did get sent out there.
So at your wedding, was it just one big meal, or did you have a bunch of people walking around with small little plates? of small
One
meals?
big meal.
One big chicken piccata.
One
I
giant.
don't remember what the food was at his wedding.
I don't either.
Wow, that's how you know it was really good.
There were cupcakes at some point,
Good.
or maybe the little tiny nothing but cake cupcakes.
I saw the one.
Those are awesome.
I saw the one tweet of the bird getting hit by the baseball.
Yeah.
that was one.
Yep.
I didn't see any of the others.
There was 6 of them.
Was there a bunch of other memes?
Connor went through all of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them were just guys walking across the diamond with fireworks in
Well,
the
there was-
background. It's very cinematic looking.
Mhm.
There was like
Cinematic
3 of them
recaps.
that referenced the sweep, which felt like a little over the top. But
They
really
were
gotta-
enjoying
They
themselves.
got to get their licks in.
I get it. First sweep since 2015. It doesn't happen very often, so you got to do it.
right there. That's good stuff right there.
You got to do it.
Don't apologize for wins.
They clearly were not with their 6 tweets.
No, they were doing the exact opposite.
It was great. I was not on my phone looking at social media and I mean, I saw the people who were taking the victory of lap of like Nebraska went undefeated against Creighton in all the sports this year. There was a lot of like to the point where people like with no shame were clearly copying, pasting one another and getting their.
Oh yeah.
Like it was kind of ridiculous. How
I saw
same
one
tweet
of
there
one of the idiots burners trying to add on like oh yeah, and by the way, you forgot about the exhibition volleyball game a couple weeks ago. So it's actually 10-0. And I'm like, no, they didn't. It was an exhibition volleyball game.
Yeah, no, They did not.
I got a couple tweets after that. They were like, "How you feeling after that loss?" I'm like, "I feel nothing at all. It's an exhibition.
I got a
Great for everybody to show
I
up."
got a really weird tweet yesterday from somebody who I think someone who I know has a burner and they're trying to communicate to me that they have a burner. Because it was a non-faced, non-descriptive, just like Husker Twitter account, and they were like, "Hey, at Matt," and I'm like, which one of my friends are trying to communicate to me that they have a burner right now and that this is their burner?
Never had a burner.
You've never had a burner?
No, I had one.
I've never had a burner either. You would. He would.
I would crush a burner.
He would cause so much havoc with a burner.
You like this wouldn't mean anything to you because it was before your time even really caring about Nebraska. But the one account that I basically had that existed solely for almost trolling, but more or less just comical to me, is I had an account that was like, did Brendan Radley Hiles or did Bookie decommit today?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would get asked this on the radio, like every single radio appearance from when he committed until when he ultimately did decommit.
That's funny.
And so, like, I at one point in the summer, I was like,
Well, wasn't it? Did Buki commit
no,
first?
decommit.
Oh, because there was a long time where he was going to commit,
Right.
and then he did
There's
commit.
probably a version of that for somebody else.
Yeah,
But then I did the decommit one.
yeah. You remember Book? Oh, you don't remember
What do you
Buki.
mean? Do I remember?
Well, you don't remember
It was before you.
You don't remember the Buki barn either.
What is that, like the Trump barn?
It is.
What were you doing?
Really?
Yeah.
Was
hello.
it just a big old barn that had Buki on it?
Yep.
What were you doing in 2016 and 2017?
I was watching the Cubs.
Okay, well that's
Yeah, be more specific.
I was a freshman in high school.
okay. There we go.
There we go.
I was.
You
I
were
was-
younger than
We
Buki.
know that you were in Chicago. We know that.
I was a freshman at Notre Dame College Prep in Miss Barton's literature class. That's what I was doing.
There
We
you
were
go.
reading Of Mice of Men.
And we were doing bits, just as we are
Twitter
now.
bits?
Yeah.
That was our Twitter bit era.
Well-
We've since exited.
And then I had a Twitter account that existed only to tweet out my dad's comments during our family Christmas.
Schaefer Family Xmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
And then the
Wow.
A classic.
He caught wind of it, and so then he tried to be more of a character rather than being himself, and it
Mm.
kind of went downhill from there.
Did you?
And
That's
then
kinda-
some of them we got to the point where it's hard to tweet them out because
They were.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did
Fair
you,
2020 happened.
did you
Yeah.
just tweet them out in the season, or did you
It was
save
seasonal.
them through? Okay.
And now the account would get bumped if we had a family vacation because they would, it's
Uh-huh,
basically just
uh-huh.
like being around my dad would propel these things.
Bleep,
Didn't
my
you-
dad says.
Didn't
More or
you?
less that.
Yeah.
You kind of rebranded it once to Schaefer Family Vacation.
I
I
did,
think. Yeah, I remember that.
Should I make a not a burner, but an account where I do my Thanksgiving press conferences?
You should do a Matt Goes to Chicago and you tweet from that when you're in Chicago.
Why, you don't like my Chicago tweets?
No,
when
just
I'm-
because you were talking yesterday on the crossover. You were talking about a trip that you were going to take, and it was, well, I got to figure out when I'm going to go watch the game at the new Northwestern Stadium.
I do have to. That
And
has to be.
I was thinking to myself,
in
I'm
my-
definitely going to bring up to Matt that once again he's planning on going to Chicago
in
for
June.
another-
Yeah,
Well,
You and Joey are more alike than you think.
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why we can't stand each other.
Maybe.
It's just like we don't
I
like
think
looking
Joey
in the
likes
mirror.
you.
I can't stand Joey.
Actually, I don't think Joey likes you.
I can't stand there's just nothing redeeming about it. It's just like there's nothing that we can like bond over. Like what? Can
But
You guys can
Wait,
bond over lots of stuff.
Everything. Yeah.
You both like sports.
Schedules.
Yeah, but the raw like we are on the opposite sides of all the sports.
Yeah, that's
I
what
do
makes
not
it
like.
fun.
Can I be real with you? I do
Upcom-
not like schedule.
upcoming trips?
I don't care.
You're
less
always
about
talking
schedule.
about your upcoming trips.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just those are my things to look forward to.
That's
guys
what
like-
Joey always talks about.
You visit similar places.
I
Like in
visit
that-
one place.
Well, he goes to Colorado a lot.
Yeah, it's just I mean, I guess we are both young enough to the point where it's like if we're gonna go places, we got to see our family. That's kind of like the standard. No longer in 2027. I've already told them. I go in 2027.
Trips to Chicago are done
They're not done, but they will be limited. There will probably be 1 to 2.
until Southwest does a $49 sale. You're
And
like,
then
I'm back.
And then I'm going back. I'm
Yeah.
going to Murphy's immediately. But like
you
I
can
said,
bust your account out and be like, Matt's in Chicago.
well,
And
that's
we'll just know.
That's the one thing where it's like, they will like know, like they have my location, so they'll know where I'm at. So I can't really be like just secretly go on vacation. Like they'll be like, "Oh, wise man in Tampa," you know.
Yeah, but they're not going to see your Matt is in Chicago tweets. That's why the burner account is for.
They don't. Thank God they don't have Twitter. My parents could not have Twitter, and I'm very thankful for it. I'm very thankful that my dad has never had an interest to have it. I'm not necessarily
kind of surprising. I think he'd do well on there.
I think he would do really well on there, and he would catch a lot of support. And it's just and you know, the man is an entertainer. You can say what you want about Mike, but Mike can get the people going.
You should get him going on Blue Sky.
I don't really want. He's too old at this point, and it's just like I don't want.
I'm just saying, if you never use Blue Sky and he takes over and does things on Blue Sky, then you each have your own area and it doesn't have to interact.
I'm afraid that he'll really, really like it. That he'll really, really get into it. Like
he got really into Twitter and we never saw him again.
It'll be dude.
Like the one kid on Sandlot.
Yeah,
like,
Bertram got really into the 60s.
Like, can you like I've already talked to you guys about like how this man will send me text messages and be like, is this not politically correct enough? Like, do I have to adjust anything? Can you imagine him sending me tweets? Can you imagine I have to vet my dad's tweets before he puts them out there? It'd be a nightmare. So I'm glad he hasn't found it out, and I don't want him to, and it's totally good. And my mom, I don't think, has any interest in joining Twitter. And they don't even like look at my tweets on Twitter too. So
that's good.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's phenomenal.
It really is separated from reality on Twitter.
It's a whole other.
You don't really have any tweets that you would be ashamed about that I've seen.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about. I don't even swear on my Twitter.
Yeah, I genuinely don't either.
Yeah.
Although it would be funny if your parents were like, "Hey, can you not do these press conference things from our house anymore?"
So they found out about it.
Oh,
and Dad was like, "What is this?" and Mom goes, "Why is my bathroom on Twitter?"
Why is my bathroom on Twitter? Yeah,
And
that's
he
a great
goes-
question.
and
I
he
mean,
goes-
I would ask the same thing.
And he goes, and then like some of the cousins I were referring to found them, and they were wondering if I was actually mad at their performance at dinner. And then it kind of turned into, she's like, "Do people?" My mom goes, "Do people like this?"
They do.
And I was like, "Believe it or not, probably some of my best content that I've created."
But
So-
you don't want the people to change who they are to try to chase the,
No, not really. Like I've thought about, do I force storylines? Do I force like whether or not?
No,
we
you
had
got to
a
tighten
good-
it up.
Like, no, it's I
That's
don't.
why the
I-
Shaver family Christmas died. My dad wanted to be more of a character.
Mhm.
And it was less fun.
Yeah, you can't let people know they're in on the bit. Like the bit.
Well,
just
he would
kinda
hear
has
about
to
it from
exist.
other people. He would hear me talk about him on the radio and then demand to know what was being said and all of these other things. Like it always gets back to people.
That's the one thing.
It does.
about
You never
having-
know who's listening.
Having my dad on the show, like we will have Pops on the show at some point. I just don't want to open up Pandora's box. Like I'm afraid that he'll get on the radio and he'll feel the thrill of being on the radio and people
What a
liking
thrill.
it. That he'll be like, "When can I come back?" Like he's already knocking on the door to get on the show to begin with. I'm afraid that if I open up that box, it's going to be like, "Hey, Dad."
It'd be funny if he just called in all the time.
I offered him to call in for the Kentucky Derby.
And
he-
Josh would be put in a very interesting spot. Do I screen him out? Do I screen the host's father off the show?
Josh would look at me and be like, "It's your dad."
Or do I say,
Or he just puts them in.
maybe you're in the middle of a great
Maybe.
topic and a great conversation, and
My dad goes, the thing about Claypool.
Josh is like, let me just drop a bomb in the middle of this right now. It's your dad on line one.
You're in the middle of talking about Nebraska, Indiana, and your dad wants to rehash the Bears game.
He does. He does. Well, we rehash the Bears game after every Bear. I get a call immediately. 000 hits. I get a call from the guy. He's like, Eberfluzer's an idiot. Like the guy was born to lose.
It's a good take.
I'm like, I'm gonna be real. My dad's had some good takes recently. Had some good takes.
Oh.
He's been
Sounds
on
like a
it.
guy to have on the show.
His bad takes though. He is totally out on Ryan Poles, and there's nothing Ryan Poles can do to get back. And now he's starting to be out on Kevin Warren, which all is
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
like he was very pro Warren for a while, and now he's kind of starting to shift over to not
Kevin
liking
Warren starting to lose Skokie.
If I'm being honest, my dad is still kind of the opinion that they never should have closed the horse track down. Like Arlington Park should still be racing horses. Like if it were up to him, there'd still be a park for him to go to. So I don't think he's ever gotten over that. By the way, of them shutting down.
Come from a very
Arlington
horse
Park.
racing family.
It's very clear. I wanted him to call him for the Kentucky Derby, and he was just like, "I'm not prepped enough." And I'm like, "You don't really have to be all that prepped. You can just tell me what horses you like." He's like, "No, I don't want to embarrass you."
Do you think Preakness or the PGA Championship is a bigger deal?
The PGA Championship.
Which is saying something.
Will we
because
have
nobody
it-
cares
will
about
They
the
both
PGA
suck.
Championship.
Will we have a Preakness guest on Friday?
Probably.
Yes, we will.
This
So
Friday?
excited. Yeah,
Mr. Ed.
Oh, that's Saturday, huh? Okay.
that is. Josh seems it'll be 6-minute interview with the guy who said he was the Preakness guy.
You got a
That's
guy
awesome.
telling you got a Preakness. You got a guy telling you you're
We
a
brought
Preakness guy?
we got a guy on for the Derby, and he comes on for the Derby, and he leads off with, "I'm actually a Preakness guy. They call me the Prince of the Preakness."
Okay. Now, why did he say that? Does he believe that about himself?
I guess he's bet the winner of the Preakness the last couple of times. That's his bit. I guess that's his bit in horse racing.
he's the Preakness guy.
Yes.
I think being a horse racing guy is the bit.
Do you have
I
him?
thought so too, but
Is he going to come
It's-
on this one and say he's a Belmont guy? Actually,
Well, I don't
but
know.
he's got to do it in a way where he's the boy of the Belmont or
Yeah.
something like that.
I'm a
Honestly,
Belmont boy.
He had.
That's what they call me,
he had
Belmont
Baron
boy.
of the
I'm
Belmont.
going to be real with you. I liked him a lot. He had some terrible bets for the Kentucky Derby, and I'm kind of hoping we continue the bit of him missing. So it's like when we do bring him back for the Kentucky Derby next year, it'll be like, oh, the guy who's bad at horse racing is coming on match.
I like
talking
that.
about horse racing.
It
That's
is
funny.
weird for you to pick the winner and then bring on a guest who does not correctly predict the winner.
Yeah, but I think it's funny.
You should have
Oh,
yourself
no,
on
I
as a
do,
guest.
too.
I definitely think I'm kind of putting myself over in a way, right? Like I'm
Uh-huh.
bringing on a jobber in order to
Yeah.
I got to get,
But it's not like you don't have experience of having someone come on and give bad picks.
that is very true. We had plenty of that experience.
Make Matt look strong.
That's kind of, you got to make sure McMaster looks really, really strong. And that's what this guy does.
Enhancement talents, they call them.
Yeah. I mean, I have my own horse Carlito, like everyone, there was a wrestler called Carlito. He would come on and he would,
That vaguely rings a bell.
he would like take a pin for a lot of the really big talent, and
He
be
would
like,
eat a bite of apple and
Yeah.
spit it.
and
on
spit
people.
in his face.
That's what I remember
That was
about
his
it.
bit.
I
yeah.
do remember
Yeah.
that part. I don't remember him losing every time.
He was, and then
When you remember him, he wasn't really losing.
Yeah,
as much.
yeah.
Okay. He stopped.
As he aged, he lost more.
Oh, really?
yeah.
'Cause he had less value other than to make others.
And then he
look
just
good.
became cool.
I do remember the dude spitting the apples at guys, though. That was really funny.
And then they did the
Because I thought he was Mango. Because I really liked Mango at the time. And I was like, oh, that's like Mango.
Well, now I have to wonder if
Maybe.
he saw that and went,
Probably.
I could do that.
Probably. There was just a thing in the early 2000s with dudes spitting fruits at people.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Well,
that.
it's SNL. Chris Kattan did Mango.
Yeah.
And he would just eat a mango and spit it at whoever was. Do you remember the Schaefer? You know,
Vaguely.
You are such a child in terms of what makes you laugh.
well, I mean, I was a child.
That is true. That is.
Chris Kattan was great.
If I'm being honest with you, I totally think that Carlito probably saw that and was like, I'm going to do this in wrestling. That's how that works.
Genius.
That's how it occurs. Like
Genius.
John Cena saw a bunch of people like freestyle rapping on YouTube and was like, oh, I will try and freestyle rap. And then he became John Cena.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
Famously, Vince McMahon watched Pirates of the Caribbean on a plane, and 6 weeks later, there was a pirate wrestler in the WWE.
Huh.
This
Yeah.
was many years after
All
the
right.
first Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out.
Vince McMahon got on a plane and was like, oh, they say that God is above the clouds. God should make his WWE debut.
And he did.
And he did. God has got his debut.
God appeared.
God has debuted at the WWE.
They got God.
They put a big spotlight down, and he like
Nice
and
get.
then the spotlight came
get.
down came down the ramp. They're like, he's here, he's here.
They played the Undertaker song in full a couple nights ago at the Creighton game. I can't remember what scenario it was, and I was like,
Closer.
"Damn, this is good." I don't know if it was somebody's song or what it was, but it got played. I was like, "Whoa, this is."
I've always thought it would be a badass closer
Very
intro.
good.
Just the
No one's
gong.
ever done that. No one's ever done that.
Someone has to. Have
They
done it.
had to.
Everybody does the rooster these days. Everybody's walking out to the rooster.
What's the rooster?
I don't know the rooster.
You never heard the rooster? You know he ain't gonna die. You
Oh,
never,
yeah.
The grunge song.
Dude,
yeah.
Do all the
Alice in
SEC
Chains?
teams do they
Correct.
still have like a guy who's really like a fat guy on their team, on the SEC team, that comes out to thunder heavy rain down in Jordan pain, it's a long train script all insane. I feel like
I don't know that he specifically comes out to that song, but usually the SEC. The SEC teams they have less fat guys now.
yeah, they do have less. They are
No
just
Tommy
built.
Tanks.
The LSU has the
Baseball in
kid.
general has seen it
Yeah.
it's losing the fatty.
Are we getting this is a Bill Simmons
LSU
summer
has
segment. Are we
LSU's
getting
first
too-
baseman is a fatty.
Are we getting too lean in baseball?
Mhm.
Baseball used to be great when you have a bunch of fat guys.
I know
Do we
they're
need-
way too athletic.
do
They're
we
too
need-
flexible.
Do we need to get fat again in baseball? We can write that down as a Bill Simmons summer segment. Right there.
100%. 100%.
I think
LSU's first
I think
baseman.
baseball needs to get fatter.
He's transferred from Grand Canyon, York.
Yeah.
Well, LSU sucks this year.
Yeah.
So, you know.
there is kind of a thing of like you do enjoy a sport a little bit more when the people look a little bit more likely.
Well,
like
I-
you.
I think one of Nebraska fans' favorite players for the last since they've been in the Big Ten is Ben Miller. People loved Ben Miller.
And it's just he looked like a normal guy.
He's just a big man.
He's a bigger guy.
Just a bit. They called him Big Country or something like that. You
Yeah.
know? Everybody's got
Yeah.
a Big Country.
Mhm.
Every big country has to be the most overused baseball nickname, maybe.
100%.
Ooh, overused baseball nickname.
Or the natural.
Never heard it.
Nobody calls anybody the natural.
Nope.
It's Big Country for
It's
sure.
a big country.
Yeah.
I mean, even just any variation of like either big dog, big cat, any of that.
Just anything big. We just love putting big in front of things. Is Mr. Beef? Mr. Beef would have been a college baseball player.
Beef man?
Oh, Beef Man. I'm sorry.
Beef Man.
I didn't know what we settled on. Did we settle on Beef Man or Mr. Beef?
Beef Man.
Has Beef Man been on the show recently?
No, he's really taking some time off.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Is he on a vegan diet now or something?
No, he's still eating beef and bacon.
Just haven't had any real beef stories for him to sink his teeth in.
Sad.
Tiff, I see what you did there. That was a good one. That was very clever.
Yeah, we'll see what happens around the College World Series if we get any giant fatties.
I want to find. It's unfortunate that LSU won't be at the College World Series because I want to take a picture of my tiger guy again.
Oh, he'll still be
He'll
here.
still be there.
Yeah.
The big smelly tiger man.
Yeah.
That was I like put my arm around
And then
him,
the guy-
it was
the guy's-
sweatiest I've ever felt another human.
The guys sitting in the front row, they'll be there. There'll still be LSU tailgates.
Is the Vandy Whistler coming back?
He is not. Vandy's not going to make the tournament, and he's banned.
I don't think he is.
He's not.
Connor.
but-
We need a Connor Happer banned list. Like just people who are banned according to Connor Happer. I actually think that would be
Nebraska from the College World Series.
that is one. That's your
Whoa.
lead-off.
Perfect. Awesome.
We have the dead to us list. We
Mhm.
haven't added to it recently. Not a lot of people have pissed me off enough to be added to the dead
Who's
to
on
us
the
list.
list?
Puxatawny Phil.
Okay.
JJ Watt.
Albert Breer.
Okay.
We have Chris Sims, Seth Davis,
Okay.
Alex Cora,
Yep.
Mitch Marner, Jackson Richardson.
What Alex Cora do to you?
I just don't like cheaters. John P, who is the
So Carlos Beltran's on there too.
no, but Connor Scallions is.
Why is Carlos Beltran not on there?
We can add him. We can add Carlos Beltran. I have no.
Who's the architect of the whole thing?
That's why he hasn't got a managerial job. The Mets had to hire some randos.
John P is like the PFF help support line guy who actually has been a pain in my butt for the last couple
Are we
of
sure
months.
John P's not AI?
Ooh.
Maybe, but it's just John P keeps telling me, I'm sorry you
John
want a
PAI.
refund. I'm sorry you want a refund from something that you shouldn't have been charged for. We can't give it back to you. And then I tried calling the PFF. You know what? Chris Collinsworth is on the dead to us list. And the reason why is
man.
because I kept calling the
Here's a
PFF
guy.
helpline to be like, give me my money back. I don't want to pay $120 for PFF. And every time it was Chris Collinsworth. He was like, hey, thanks for calling us. We really
He turned into Harry Carey.
Oh no. Hey, thanks for calling PFF. We really appreciate your support.
You should call Collinsworth and say,
Say pass rush.
Pass rush.
And Harry Carey is Chris Collinsworth.
Now here's a guy
There you go. You should call Collinsworth like his actual phone and be like, hey,
Give me my money back.
these guys are messing with me. Can you just comp me? And he'll probably say yes.
They literally did not tell
Seems like
me.
he'd be a good guy.
Yeah, I like Collinsworth.
I bought a year.
Collinsworth.
I bought a yearly subscription to PFF. They then fired all of the people who did all of the things that I like that they do. So I go, all right, I'm just not going to buy it again. Well, I didn't know, and they never told me it was automatically renewed. So
Matt,
one day,
This is
every
like
subscription is automatically
Yep.
renewed.
so they automatically renew it, and I email them back and I go, no, you fired all the people that I like, and all the things that you do that I would pay for, you probably aren't going to have anymore. So I'm good. And they're like, we don't do refunds. And then I tried. I emailed them over and over again. Never got back to me.
you weren't going to get a refund on this. This is what you've been mad about?
This is what he's been mad about.
I've been mad about it for a while.
You were never going to get a refund.
I called
Yeah,
them
you lost.
over and over and over again. They never responded. They were never working. I never got a operator.
I was
or
kind of
anything.
on your side until right now. I don't think you deserve a refund.
I bought it, and then a year later, I didn't even think to like go and get
Okay,
it.
what
that's
they do.
on you.
That's how this works.
You have to buy it and then immediately cancel it.
And you get it for a month, and that's it.
No, well, a year. They like
Yeah,
renewed
sure.
my
Depending on
yearly
how you do it.
subscription.
Sure, a year, a month, a week, whatever it is. Yeah.
It's
One
like-
of the things that you can do to get around it is you could get one of those Visa gift cards, and you put your subscription on that. So there's no way that they can.
It'll just decline immediately.
Oh yeah.
That's what
I was so mad
people have
because
done that.
Or you could just be responsible.
yes, I could do that. That is a factor.
I don't see that happening.
Thanks, Josh. That's the crossover. Powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Middays with Matt is coming up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy! But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Otson. Fired up today. It's going to be a good day. This week, kind of going pretty fast, if I'm being real with you. I feel like we've flown
We're
by.
already at the halfway point, everybody.
Already halfway through the week. I honestly think it has to do with the weather. The weather has been absolutely phenomenal this week, and so I think it's just been a little bit easier to cruise on by. And also, there's been some pretty interesting things that have been happening in and around Husker football, Husker sports. Everybody was so fired up for the Big Ten basketball schedule release. They were just hooting and hollering about it. So excited that Nebraska's going to be hosting Michigan at home at Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's been a fun time. I'm golfing today. First time in 2 weeks. And
It's league.
It is
right?
league. I'm a little concerned.
Oh,
I'm not a wuss. I'm going to power through. But tonight we are not only doing a double, we are doing a triple. We are doing a 9 holes of golf at Tiburon, followed up by going to my softball league and playing not one, but 2 softball games. We have a double header tonight. So I'm going to golf and then play 2 softball games. My right foot right now is killing me. Okay. I don't know what it is. It's like the under part of like the kind of side part of my foot. It's aching. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to fully be able to do this, but we are going to try. We're going to attempt it.
Is it your shoes?
Yeah, I think I've been going on all of these. Okay. You know what, Dad? Yes, it totally is. Here's why. Because I'm going on all these walks, right? And I've been like bragging about all these walks, but I haven't bought like proper walking shoes or proper running shoes. Like I've just been walking in like basketball shoes or like sneakers that I've like had in the past. And I think the lack of support and the increased amount of walking has definitely torn up my leg or torn up my feet rather. So I probably, okay, real quick. This could be a good crossover segment with Peterson because he can tell me all about it.
Oh yeah. He'll tell you what you're doing wrong.
I went to Shields. Everybody knows I love Shields.
You do.
So I go to Shields and shoes at Shields aren't that bad. Like you can, especially if you go to the on sale rack, you can get some really, really good deals at Shields when it comes to like getting some nice shoes. So I'm over there and I'm looking at like, the shoes that a man like me would look for, like the Nikes and like the going out shoes, the type of shoes you would wear at the bar or whatever with your friends, like when you're hanging out. And then I'm like, oh, okay, let me go to the walking shoe rack. Let me go to the Nike shoe rack. Let me go to the Adidas and the Hoka. Dude, they are like $160 for these ultra supportive running shoes. I'm like, what in the hell is this? I used to
Those
be a
weren't
runner.
built in America.
Well, here's the thing, though. I used to be a runner. I used to run cross country, believe it or not. Okay. I was actually a 2-time all conference ESCC cross country runner. They were not $160 back in the day. They used to be. I remember a time where running shoes were actually cheaper than like basketball shoes. Now we are at the point where it's like, I don't want to buy $160 walking shoes. I have to figure something out. So maybe I talk to Josh Peterson about it. But all of a sudden, all of you cross-country parents out there kind of feel bad for you in terms of what you have to buy and how expensive things are. So kind of ridiculous. Asian Joe goes, if you need shoe/sneaker advice, I'm your person.
Asian Joe's good people.
Asian Joe is good people. My advice is, where do I buy cheap shoes? I'm one of the worst people ever because I want high quality for cheap. I'm like,
don't we all?
I want good quality, but I also don't want to spend any money. And then I make it other people's problems to find that for me. I like fully put it on the sales associate to like figure that problem out. And it's Black Cat goes, Mick Timu. Mick DH gate for sure.
Nothing wrong with DH.
I would say, I honestly, I don't think I've bought a fully authenticated like Dick's Sporting Goods or Shields jersey in 5 years. All of the jerseys that I've bought have either been DHgate or eBay. I've been buying jerseys off of eBay recently because I like the niche players that nobody else would like. You're not going to go to the team store and find an Andrew Shaw Blackhawks jersey. You would only go to eBay and find that. Which kind of annoyed, by the way, that you blue balled me when you go.
Me?
Yeah, you blue balled me. You go Bronco Nagurski jersey for $40 on NFLshop.com.
Oh yeah, I didn't look at the sizes.
I was so fired up. I was like, I have not bought my own Chicago Bears authenticated jersey in God knows how long. And then it was a medium. And I'm too big to wear a medium now. We're getting to the point where we got to start making lifestyle changes because the suit pants are not fitting as well as they used to.
Okay.
That's officially like
been there.
The line of demarcation.
I just decided to buy new suit pants.
See, my mom recommended that. And I go, I feel like I'm surrendering.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm giving up. And I'm like, I can't do that. There is one suit pant I fully just can't put them on. I just can't wear them. It's tough. It's tough around here. It's tough being an adult. It's like you find out when you have a full-time.
It is, man.
You find out that when you have a full-time job, that your ability to go to the sauna and in the steam room and go and work out, it definitely falls by the wayside or into the wayside, if you will, because that's been happening. We have a lot of text, by the way.
A lot of people helping you out.
Aaron goes,
"Hi, Aaron.
Shoes are expensive, but my rule that I live by: don't spend less you can on anything between you and the ground. Tires, a mattress, and your shoes pay for themselves and maybe save your life or your back."
He's right. It hurts, but he's right.
You know what? I never go cheap on tires.
No.
Ever. I've had to buy tires before in my young life.
Now, you don't have to get the most expensive tire on the market, but
I just get whatever they recommend.
Yeah.
They were like, we recommend these. And it was a bill. It was $1.50. And I was like, okay, cool. Figure it out. Pedro.
Hi, Pedro.
Hi, guys. Matt, you are too young to get Skechers. They are a great shoe. Oh, he goes, hi, guys. Matt, are you too young to get Skechers?
Okay.
They are a great shoe. Yeah. To be fair, I am the guy that wears Lightning McQueen Crocs that light up. As like my walking. You do have walking around the house shoes, right?
I don't. No.
You just walk around barefoot or?
Yeah, barefoot and socks.
And socks?
Whatever.
Oh, okay. Am I weird for
No, my wife has house shoes.
I can't walk around in my house with socks or like barefoot. Like I have to have some sort of slipper. Not like a bougie Ugg slipper or anything like that, but like just like some sort of shoe. Rattlesnake Ron writes in.
Hi, Rattlesnake Ron. I have follow-up questions that I won't get the answers to.
Okay, I have right away. How do you get Rattlesnake Ron as your nickname? Like, do you apply for that?
There's only a few ways you can get that nickname.
Do you apply for that nickname? What are the prerequisites that you need? Or is it self-given? Which some people would make fun of him for that. If you have the gall to be like, I'm Rattlesnake Ron, nice to meet you. I kind of respect
give yourself
that.
a nickname.
Have you ever given yourself a nickname?
Nope.
I've never given myself a nickname, but I've definitely tried to make nicknames that people have given me stick.
Oh, yeah. You're like, ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I got to start referring to myself as that so people get along with it. Shout out Maddie Mac. Fully side with you, Matt. It is sad that people have just accepted this corrupt system where companies are able to just recharge subscriptions because of fine print and a user agreement. Are you young enough and should have known better to cancel the subscription right away? Yes. But we should never excuse an industry that relies on ignorance to fraudulently make their fortune. What an articulate, thought-out response from Rattlesnake Ron, of all people.
That's a hell of a sentence.
He really put that together. Blue Jay goes in.
Hi, Blue Jay.
My house shoes are Uggs, best purchase I've ever made. Charles goes, you go for walks in Crocs. No wonder your feet hurt. No, I don't go for walks in Crocs.
Okay.
Walks in Crocs sounds like, a YouTube show that like a bunch of famous people who are trying to like get back into the game do.
All right, we're going to do the Boston Marathon in Crocs. Let's see how it goes. Smash that subscribe button.
Here are 1,000 people that are currently homeless. I've all given them Crocs.
Yeah.
If they can run 26.2 miles in Crocs, I'm going to give them a private jet. I'm Mr. Beast. So that guy does.
I know a lot of you might be thinking, I'm unfamiliar with the content Mr. Beast puts out. Is Matt being sarcastic? Not that much.
Not that much.
Not that much.
Here's a guy who's in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. If he could stay in this one house for 2 months with no contact, I'm going to give him an island.
Now watch me set one wall on fire.
Okay, wait. They did that though. Like they did that with a guy where they would just ruin his house. They put him in a house and they just ruin it. That guy really does like the PG Hunger Games. Like that's now here's the thing though. If you want to get on a Mr. Beast conversation, do I really have a problem with him? No, not really. He does a lot of very interesting things. He's very philanthropic. He donates to a lot of people. He's given Africa water or given people in Africa water. Has helped people in need. Does he just go about it in a very precarious way? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Seems like a creep, but I don't really have a lot of evidence to back it up.
He is benefiting off of people's struggle, but then he does reward people for struggling. I wish I would know somebody though who's like done a Mr. Beast video before.
There's probably a cottage industry on YouTube of I was in a Mr. Beast video.
Can I be real with you? There's a cottage industry when it comes to reality TV, when it's like these same people have been on all these different shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's now like there are some of these people, they have like baseball reference career stats. They've been on The Bachelor, and then they've been on Love Island, and they've been on Love in Paradise, and now they're going to be on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and they were on Vanderpump Rules, and now they're going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Like when did like reality shows become like teams where you just switch back and forth, where you're like free agent, you can go anywhere?
Once all of these entertainment industries had streaming services they needed to create content for, they like, okay, we only have so many people that can do this well. We need to reuse them and get them. Oh, they loved this guy on this show, so let's put him on this show.
Can I rehash your statement there for a second?
Yeah.
We only have so many hot people who are willing to embarrass themselves.
That's right.
Apparently, there's a finite amount of incredibly good-looking individuals who are willing to just be trashed on TV.
You would think there wouldn't be. You'd think it'd be an infinite number, but it's not, surprisingly.
Hot take. Do people have more dignity than we think?
Oh.
Is that another Bill Simmons summer podcast?
I hadn't thought of it that way.
Is dignity back? Is dignity having a moment?
Is dignity having a moment?
Poll question. That should be, by the way, Seth is a guy who always emails in and gives us poll questions. That should be a bit where we just read all of Seth's emails, because you open up the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally and always pick up on the first ring. Shout out Old Man Doug. And you go in there and there's 7 Seth emails about poll questions. Which we love Seth.
NU Tenskers has sent us a Zillow listing of an island in New Hampshire.
Sure.
I believe this is New Hampshire, with a house on it for $337,000. 2 bed, 2 bath, 600 square foot. Looks real nice.
You know what? I told my parents about the Colorado vacation that you and I should have went in on.
Yeah,
and
the Jet Awards.
And I read them to what the lodging situation in Avon, Colorado looked like, and they got mad at me.
That we didn't do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, why didn't you pull? My dad was like, I actually would have like given you some money to do that too. He was like, that sounds so cool. I would have helped you out. Like, I didn't think about that.
It was available for less than cost at the Jet Awards.
Literally.
And we declined.
All right. Next year at the Jet Awards,
we're doing it.
We are going to buy. I've always wanted to buy something at a live auction. I've just never had the means to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was one time where I went to a live auction and they were like, we're going to give away half a pig and a freezer.
Half a pig?
Half a pig and a freezer.
Which half?
I think the left half.
Oh, I didn't have it in my head as left and right.
What did
I had it as top and bottom.
Oh no, I think it's down the middle.
Okay,
I think it's
that makes more
yeah.
sense. Then you get a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, that would be tough.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you were to wait, if we were to cut it like a burger, right? What half of the pig do you get? Do you want the 2 legs or the 2 shoulders?
Yeah, that's what. I don't know why I had it split up like that.
I would probably take the front part of the pig, right? Because you would get more of the ribs, but you would get less loin chops.
Yeah,
but you would get 2 full shoulders.
Get some of that guanciale though.
I got really mad at the memorial service I went to because
that happens.
I thought we were spit roasting a full pig. I was really fired up.
As one does.
Well, as the Cubans do.
Sure.
You know? I mean,
you got to think of who you're talking to, man.
I'm going to be real with you. It would be like, a half cousin's 3rd birthday and we would put a pig on a spit, like that was the thing. Like Theo Yan was always looking for excuses to put the pig on a spit. And I fully anticipated for one of the 5, one of the heads of the family sadly passing away, that we would have a pig on a spit. And instead we just catered. And I was like, what happened to us? Like what's happened to this family? So some people are asking that about Nebraska football. What's happened to us?
Oh, I thought people wanted Matt Rhule to put a pig on a spit.
You know what? Poll question.
Should Matt Rhule put a pig on a spit?
I think that his approval rating would skyrocket if he just goes, guys, we're going to have a big pig roast. If Matt Rhule fed more people, would people be okay with the amount of losses they've suffered in November? That's a real question people are asking. Not really. But people are asking, what's happened here? What happened? Well, we'll talk about it. I'm going to pick up on a bit of a conversation that we had yesterday in terms of the College Sport Commission and the denial of now what is being reported of $7.5 million, not the original $1 million amount we first anticipated when it comes to deals that were submitted through Playfly Sports, the multimedia rights partner with Nebraska Athletics. I have a couple more thoughts on why Nebraska has taken the approach they've taken when it comes to the College Sport Commission, when it comes to the clearinghouse, when it comes to the decision that was made to deny those payments. And still, instead, though, a very non-combatant head of the College Sport Commission, Brian Seeley, says, please resubmit the deals. Please resubmit the deals. And Nebraska is seemingly following through with that and going to try and resubmit these deals through the College Sport Commission. I have a couple more observations and a couple of thoughts, and kind of a tinfoil hat, if you will, as to why this process has gone the way that it has. Is this unfortunate that the College Sport Commission denied the deals that Nebraska was trying to submit through, or was it a part of the plan? I'm not trying to say chestnut checkers here, because I think that's a little bit, but you can I think you can look at their actions and you can kind of piece together maybe, and also too, I'm grabbing some of these thoughts from what Andy Staples wrote. Because Andy Staples wrote something, and I don't, some of the things that Andy was writing in his article were coming from his sources and he was reporting it. And there were some things that he was writing that I think he was kind of just guessing or alluding to or inferring to. I actually think he was kind of spot on. And I want to take that and I want to spin it into something. And I want to spin it into maybe Nebraska was actually trying to do what Andy was alluding to. And you can kind of continue to, draw a line through the stars and be like, all right, this might be actually what they're trying to accomplish here. So we'll talk about that when it comes to Nebraska, the College Sport Commission, the $7.5 million of NIL deals that have been denied that Nebraska is still trying to get approved to get to their athletes $7.5 million. If that rumored $29 million is what they're actually spending on their football team this year, that's basically 25% of their payroll still has to get approved and get to the players. Matt Rhule went on an hour-long interview with Adam Brenneman. It's a YouTube channel. It's called Next Up with Adam Brenneman. Adam Brenneman is a guy that he's traveled across the country, been to different colleges. Do you remember when Texas Tech, they went bad viral. I guess we would call it virus when we found out that they didn't have anything under 40-pound dumbbells in their weight room and everybody was freaking out about it. That was Adam Brenneman, like taking a tour through the facility. He did an hour and 3-minute interview with Matt Rhule. I found it last night after I came back from watching a lot of sports that happened yesterday. I got through 40 minutes of it, so I still haven't finished it up, full transparency. But there was one thing that Rhule said very early on in the interview that I've thought of before and we've talked about before, but I don't know if he's fully admitted it in the past, but he admitted it now on this interview. And it's kind of about how he first got here and how he approached things differently at Nebraska, opposed to how he approached things differently when he went to Temple and Baylor, which is really interesting because if, you want, Matt, if you're hiring the guy from Temple and Baylor to come and do the same thing he did there at Nebraska, you would kind of hope he would do it in the same process and he would do it in the same way, but he admittingly didn't. And by the way, I don't blame him, and we'll get to what he did and what he's referring to and how it was different. I don't blame him for doing it the way that he did, but I just think it's interesting to see him kind of articulate that and admit that. And then also, how does that relay into this season? And it's kind of something similar to maybe, and I don't love doing the cross-sport comparisons between other coaches, but it's a little similar to kind of what happened with Fred and the basketball team, the success that they had. A little similar, but it's mainly so. We're going to talk about how Matt Rhule approached things differently here at Nebraska, opposed to how he approached things differently at Temple and Baylor, and how maybe he's a little bit now closer to replicating what he was replicating in Temple and Baylor based on what the personnel was. I'll put that all together later in the show for you. Don't worry, that's why it's called a tease. I was with somebody yesterday.
Brag.
I mean, it kind of is a brag. They made me aware of to what is going to be one of the greatest sport weekends of all time. And I just want to put us in that mindset. I just want to close our eyes and put us there for a second and just have a good segment where we get really happy about it. And then we'll come back to being in May. But June 18th through June 21st, get ready. Get ready. It is going to be something in sports, potentially. A couple things have to happen, but it could be a great, great time. We'll also be talking about, look, my talk with Michael Severe yesterday fired me up for football. I am so ready for the NFL. I am so ready for Warren Sharp's preview. I'm so ready to get mad at strength of schedules. I'm so ready to read about net rest. I am ready. We have all the international games, which, by the way, too many international games. I don't care. I don't care what you say. I used to like international games was a novelty thing. It happened once or twice a year. Now we're playing like 10 different games. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, three of the biggest storylines heading into the NFL season, heading into training camp. What will those be? We'll talk about that today on the show. We'll also talk to a man from the Omaha World Herald. John Walker will be joining us here to talk all things LeBron James and the Creighton Blue Jays, along with it being a wacky guest Wednesday here on Middays with Fat. Don't forget to call and text us at 402-951-1620, the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. And we'll be looking at Twitter all day, which is powered. The Zone Twitter feed is always powered by Liquid Trucking. We have a great show for you today. Fugazi is here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right. We are joined from the Omaha World Herald, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the writer, John Walker. John, how are you?
Man, I'm okay. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. What are you doing now? Like what is
like
your
right now? Like actively right now?
I'm not being a weirdo being like, what are you doing right now? I'm not asking that. I'm asking like, what does your life look like? The Javes off season is kind of, it's kind of done. We're kind of in this weird area now in college basketball where it's like we know what the teams are, but we're not really fired up for basketball yet. The volleyball season, we had the spring season, that's kind of done. Creighton baseball, having a good year. I know you've been in and around that, but I'm just curious. I'm just asking as a friend, what are you doing? What's going on?
Matt, are you trying to take me to dinner or something?
I would love to take you to dinner. I would love to share state secrets with you.
No, I really am just kind of taking the news as it comes, trying to track down certain stories. What I really like about summer is we just inherently have a lot more time to dig into projects that, as a college basketball beat writer, you naturally just don't have the time to dig into in January and February and March. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that over the next couple of months. I have a couple of stories that I've kind of been not working on, but pondering for a few months, knowing that I would have an opportunity to work on them over the summer. But in the immediate future, was kind of keeping up with Creighton softball, followed UNO softball a little bit down the stretch, and last night was at the Jays ball game against Nebraska. So following Mark Kingston and his crew as they enter the final weekend of the regular season and then head to, or I guess stay in, the Cincinnati area to try and track down a second straight Big East tournament title, because you know it, I know it, Mark Kingston knows it. The Big East is a one-bid league this year.
Mm-hmm.
So he had pointed out the way that he and Will both approached last night's game at the Chuck. That was it wasn't a must win for Nebraska, but for a team that's, hoping to host a regional here in a couple of weeks, it was certainly a can't lose.
Sure.
And it didn't, did Creighton want to get swept? Of course not. It's like a bad look that Creighton was swept for the first time since 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, these two teams have two different goals at the moment. Again, Nebraska could not afford to lose that game, and Creighton kind of had to allocate its resources to make sure that it's in a position to try and get the highest seed possible for the Big East tournament over its final three regular season games at Xavier. So all of that's a long, meandering way to say we're focused on baseball at the moment. Then the CWS will be here before we know it. And man, I guess then we'll
really have to figure out what we're doing. Then we'll really have to lock in. Let's talk about this though. Some news did kind of hit my timeline yesterday from John Rothstein about Creighton. Corey Edwards will be joining the Blue Jays staff. He was with head coach Alan Huss over at High Point before. So I think Huss returned to Creighton last year, and then Edwards stayed back as a High Point assistant coach, and then now he's coming to Creighton to be an assistant coach. What do you know about Coach Edwards and what he might bring to the Blue Jays staff?
Yeah, expected, not official, but fully expected. But that's still being finalized. And once it is, Corey Edwards is a guy that Alan Huss is quite fond of. Huss, Edwards, and current Jays assistant Trey Ziegler were all on Greg McDermott's staff. What would it have been, 4 seasons ago now? Huss was an assistant. Ziegler was a GA. Edwards was a GA. Huss leaves for High Point, and he took both Corey Edwards and Trey Ziegler with him. And as we know it now, they're all kind of getting the band back together at Creighton. So yeah, it gives Alan Huss another high-level recruiter and another up-and-coming basketball mind with Corey Edwards. And then I believe they'll add one more assistant as well. And I think Husk might have teased that last night on the radio broadcast with John and Connor. But like, yeah, his staff is really starting to take shape. I can't remember if they have one spot left or if they will have filled them all. I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment, but a couple of assistants are on the way. That's for sure. And one of them is fully expected to be High Point assistant, former, or I don't know, kind of an Alan Husk disciple in some ways, in Corey Edwards. So yeah, it'll, in a staff that is full of really high level recruiters, the Jays seem to be adding another one with the former Blue Jay GA.
Have you taken a step back a little bit to look at this roster and kind of put expectations on what you think they'll be? And, you know, maybe you haven't looked at the rest of the Big East in full yet. I know we'll get later in the year when we get to the preview articles and everything like that, but it doesn't take any, you know, a rocket scientist to realize the Big East did really have a very good transfer portal, right? Nova got a couple of guys. Xavier invested in the transfer portal. Providence had a really good portal. You know, the Hall, right, happened during the portal season. Have you kind of taken a step back a little bit to look at what Creighton did? Because Creighton did some really good things in the portal. And do you have a range at this point where they might be in terms of the pecking order of the Big East?
Yeah, top 40 transfer class. That's always going to help. And before I say what I'm about to say, it's important to remember that there were like, I don't know, a bazillion people in the portal this year. There were at least 2,000 people in the portal, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're in the top 200 of in portal rankings or here nor there as far as player rankings are concerned, right? Like Owen Freeman was a really high-rated center last year, and for a few reasons, that did not work out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So take portal rankings with a grain of salt, I suppose. But Creighton has a top 40 transfer class and 3 guys in the top 150, which means they are in the top 10% of available transfers, Matt. That's Oswin Arunse, Wes Enos, BJ Davis. So they have 3 top 150 transfers. And more importantly, they came in areas of need. Like, I felt like last season, Creighton just kind of like acquired talent and said, yeah, we'll make it work. And I don't know, this is one of the things I'm going to dive into over the summer, was that Wilson and I on Half Court Press have mentioned that after Nebraska lost to A&M a few years ago in the first round, that there was kind of a knee-jerk overreaction to what the Huskers needed, and they kind of got away from their identity. And obviously they didn't have rink masks, and so like that gap year was just kind of tumultuous for a few reasons, right? They literally were one of 3 teams to have ever missed the Big Ten tournament because of a formatting quirk, right?
Yeah.
And so it just wasn't what they wanted it to be. And I think we kind of saw something similar this past season because Greg McDermott talked about, hey, we had the dudes, we had the top heavy dudes to hang with Auburn, but we didn't have the depth that they did. And so I think Creighton last offseason was like, all right, fit be damned, which is the polar opposite of what they've done or had done. Like, fit be damned, let's go get the most talent we can find, the best talent we can find, so that we have a deep roster. And Greg McDermott outwardly talked about that. Man, we needed to be deeper. We needed to be deeper. We think we're deeper. And it didn't work out. And so I think now, like, they've plugged the holes that they needed to with what they needed to plug those holes with. They realized they had an issue protecting the rim. So what did they do, Matt? They went and got one of the best shot blockers from the Big East this past season, and that's what Arunse.
Yeah.
So, you know, they knew that they needed some more ball dominant presences, and boy, did they get them with like a trove of backcourt talent, a trove of scorers. So yeah, we'll see. But I like what Creighton has done. But the Big East has had a really good portal season so far. Because you think about like Providence reloaded with a new coach, right? Like that roster was entirely overhauled. UConn did what it's going to do. St. John's is doing what it's going to do. But then you have the sneaky ones where it's like Marquette didn't do a lot in the transfer portal, but they went and got one of the best centers of the cycle in Sananda Fru from Louisville.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you're telling me that you pair one of the best guards in the Big East in Nigel James Jr. with one of the best centers in the portal? Like, those are the one or two moves that'll help teams inherently get better. I think a successful season would be to finish in the top half of the Big East. Like, there are only 11 teams. I personally, with what programs invest or with what is invested into programs or most programs nowadays, I think if you cannot finish in the top half of an 11-team conference, like that's a failure, IMO.
Sure. I agree.
So I would say that's the baseline for sure. But really, Matt, like, especially with the expanded NCAA tournament field, there is a path to Creighton finishing fourth, third, maybe depending on how things shake out, fourth in the Big East. I think if I had to file my ballot today, it would be fourth or fifth. No lower than fifth, certainly.
So what you would put St. John's, UConn.
St. John's, UConn, like, I don't know, Nova. What do you think of Nova, right?
I like Nova. And I think, honestly, an underrated storyline last year was how Kevin Willard was able to flip that pretty quickly and get them into being competitive in the NCAA tournament.
Then they lose one of the, like, a really good freshman in the Caden Lewis. So, like, I got to sit down and see how they plug their holes. But Nova's obviously going to be a tough out. And then, like, we're going to say the same thing about Providence that we did last year.
Yeah.
They will have all of the talent in the world. And I think, Matt, they will have better coaching this year. So they should.
I hope they have better coaching, John.
Dude,
it was tough.
I know it, man.
It was tough to watch.
It was. And you had players who were like, their top players who were like, nah, I think I'm just gonna sit and it's that and the so yeah, it was just a mess.
It was.
But Providence had all the talent in the world. Creighton saw that twice last year. And so, like, yeah, those are four teams. Marquette, throw Marquette in there.
Well, that's kind of the wild card of it all, right? Because it's like it was such a bad year. They were a really bad team, and Shaka, man, what a screw up. I like Shaka a lot, but like I mean, to allow them, and to be fair, like what was that crazy stat? Like, they had only like 3 starting combinations in like 3 seasons or something of that nature. Like, it was something ridiculous.
Like they had only replaced 3 starters across 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Something
insanity.
Like that.
So like, I kind of understand the fall off, but it shouldn't have been that bad. You can't think that they're going to be that bad for that long. They're going to be right back in it.
Exactly. So like, I don't know, somewhere right around 4th feels pretty comfy where I put Creighton in the Big East right now. I mean, it's May, so who the hell knows?
Who the hell knows? Good point.
But yeah, like I'd probably put Creighton at 4th in like the baseline for this program, Matt, regardless of where you finish in the Big East. Because if the Big East ends up being a 6-bid league, it won't.
Yeah.
If the Big East ends up being a 6-bid league for some reason, and Creighton is 6th, but still gets into the tournament, then it's like nobody really gives a damn where you finished in the Big East as long as you go take care of business and win a tournament game or 2.
Ooh, so, you with 76 teams, you don't think they can get 6 in?
Yeah, maybe they can get 6 in now. Yeah, with the
we got to remind ourselves. We got to remind ourselves there are 8 more teams in now.
And we were like just talking about this like literally moments ago.
Yeah.
And completely slipped my mind. So maybe the Big East can get 6 teams in.
I think they can.
But I just think this program, the expectation around this program, and it's a self-set bar based on what they've done over the past decade plus. the expectation around this program is to get to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, through the Kalkbrenner era, it was to get to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I think just this past season showed Creighton fans how much of a privilege, of a luxury it is to have a team good enough to go play on the sport's biggest stage. And so I think to just get back to there would be a breath of fresh air, Matt.
I mean, they went to three Sweet 16s in 4 years. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's something. John Walker, you are something. You are insane. I appreciate you greatly, my friend. We will talk to you soon. Can't wait to see all the things that you do through the summer, and we'll keep you on here on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock, as always, on Middays with Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate you, my man. John Walker, the Omaha World Herald. Tell you right now, Big East is going to be pretty good. I mean, if we're just going off of, improvements in terms of coaching and improvements in terms of roster and how they did in the transfer portal, there was a lot of teams in the Big East that made some big splashes. Providence, one of them. And, like I said, I think what Kevin Willard did at Villanova for, how bad of a job Kyle Ineptitude ended up doing, the fact that he was able to turn that around that quickly and get them to being competitive at the top of the Big East. And I'll tell you this right now, like, I think the DePaul losses for Creighton, watching both of them and having to do the post game for both of them, like that was more of a matchup thing. It's just, DePaul could go down low with NJ Benson and really punish them when it came to their lack of ability to cover both sides of the ball in terms of the paint. And they punished them down low in those games. I'm never going to be like, I don't think that's going to be a problem with Aswin Arunse next season, but Chris Holtman's building something over there at DePaul. Like they're getting momentum, and they had 2 years ago in his first season over at DePaul, they were better than expected. Last season, they took another jump. This season could be the year where they start thinking about the NCAA tournament, and especially because you have those 8 extra spots. So it could be very interesting what's happening in Chicago, but overall, very interesting what's happening in the Big East and how competitive it's going to be. And now you got 8 extra teams making the NCAA tournament. The Big East definitely can compete to have 6 teams in there. 7 is pushing it, but to have 6 teams in there, that could be a reality that we're facing if the conference as a whole has a good non-con. And that was the really, really important thing about last year's. They did not have a good non-con. And so it's the double-edged sword of being in the Big East, where it's just like, if your conference overall doesn't have a good non-con, it makes all of those conference games so much more important. We could be getting to the point where Creighton will have more quad 1 win opportunities next season in the Big East because of how their rosters and coaching staffs are improving. All right, coming up next, let's talk about a coaching staff, not in basketball, though. We're going to talk about one in Lincoln, Nebraska. Matt Rhule had some things to say on a very long YouTube interview. And going to Omaha.com, the Omaha World Herald, Sam McEwen has released a very interesting article, kind of separate from what we'll talk about in terms of the YouTube interview, but is very interesting in terms of Matt Rhule's his new contract extension, how it's getting paid out, and another deal that went down between Rhule and Nebraska. We'll talk about all of that next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, and a reminder, if you're looking at strength of schedule stuff in the NFL, it has to do with win percentage from last year. Just stop watching that program. Those people who are using strength of schedule based off of previous win percentage are the stupidest people ever.
Hey, Matt, would this have anything to do with the Bears having the quote-unquote toughest strength of schedule this season?
It's dumb. It's stupid. It doesn't have any – things change. Teams lose players. Teams have drafts. Teams add players. There are teams that had terrible winning percentages last year that are going to be much better. There are teams that had great winning percentages last year. They're going to be a lot worse. Everybody's freaking out about the Bears having the toughest strength of schedule. Are the Bears' schedule still tough? Yeah, just look at it, right? They play the Jaguars. They play three potential playoff teams in the NFC North 6 times. They go ahead and they play the Jacksonville Jags. They play the Bills. They're going to forget who else they play. I haven't memorized the schedule yet, but still, it's pretty. Oh, they played the Patriots too. Went to the Super Bowl last year, right?
People forget.
People do forget.
Might have a new head coach.
We will see. It just seems like every day or every other day something is coming out about that.
It's just not going away.
Hey, we called it.
Yeah.
That week it was the Friday, and we were like, what? Where this thing isn't diminishing at all. Anyway, I was just saying that because Colin Cowherd had a Bears segment about them having the toughest strength of schedule. That's not how it works. Okay, teams change from year to year, so stop it. It's just a bunch of clickbait. What's not clickbait is something that came across my ticker today on the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking. There's an article written by Sam McEwen. Incredibly interesting article. Now, I had to read it multiple times to fully take in like what was being explained and what is happening here. But here's the headline of the article. Nebraska's new deal. So this is talking about the contract extension. Nebraska's new deal with Matt Rhule includes a $5 million payment for IP rights LLC agreement. So Sam writes this. As part of his new deal with Nebraska Athletics, Husker football coach Matt Rhule agreed to sell his intellectual property rights to the school, which will pay his annual salary to 2 sources. So basically what's being revealed here is that Matt Rhule is getting, part of his contract being paid out regularly, right to Matt Rhule, direct deposit goes to him. And another part of that deal is going to his LLC, MRJR Ventures, okay? So in 2027, Matt Rhule is going to make $10 million. $7.5 million of that is going to go to Rhule, and $2.5 million will go to the LLC. Okay. Sam details. NU's deal with MRJR Ventures, obtained by the World Herald via a public record request, lays out the duties performed for the payouts. Okay. So this is talking about the LLC payouts. And this includes attending fundraisers, giving promotional speeches, podcasts, and appearing on programs such as ESPN's Pat McAfee. So now Rhule is getting paid, right, to his LLC in part for doing all of the outside stuff he does to promote the University of Nebraska. This has happened before, okay? Sam does a great job of citing Ed Ogeron, had a lot of his contract over at LSU paid out to his LLC. Now, this is the new part. This is the interesting part. This is something that I don't know if other teams have done this. Sam writes, through the LLC deal, Nebraska paid MRJR Ventures $5 million this spring to purchase Rhule's intellectual property rights for the duration of his tenure at Nebraska. They did this using a donor gift. Okay, so they got gifted $5 million and they paid Matt Rhule's LLC, MRJR Ventures, for his name, image, and likeness. So now Nebraska owns House Rules. They own his podcast, which has 12,000 subscribers and it gets thousands of views on that regularly. They now will be able to profit off of what Matt Rhule does and the appearances that he makes. The agreement between MRJR Ventures is 13 pages long, and it lists 8 services Rhule can perform to fulfill the contract and 20 sponsors he could do work for, which include Adidas, UNMC, Pepsi, the Lincoln Airport, Woodhouse, Valentino's, and Hy-Vee. So this is very, very interesting. I mean, the paying out to the LLC, like I said, that's just kind of, that's already happened before, right? He's getting paid $7.5 million here. He's getting paid $2.5 million to his LLC, and now Nebraska, now he technically, like, he's getting paid for doing all of those public appearances that he does and promoting Nebraska. Okay. That's just, how do you want to do business, right? But the fact that, and by the way, Troy Dannon said in this article written by Sam McEwen that they wouldn't have done this if they didn't get a $5 million gift, right?
Right.
They got a $5 million gift and they purchased Rhule's IP. So now everything that Rhule kind of does that is attached to his name, image, and likeness, they can now profit off of, right? I love the pipe bomb where CM Punk is like, I want cups with my face on it. I want forks with my face on it. I want the turnbuckles to have my face on it. Nebraska can now put Matt Rhule's face on a cup and sell it and be like, all right, that's our money now, So this is a very, very interesting here that if you were sick and tired of Matt Rhule being rolled out to do podcasts and Matt Rhule rolled out to do appearances and Matt Rhule's face to be everywhere, I got bad news for you. It's probably going to happen a lot more because now Nebraska can profit off of it. So very, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if more agents and more coaches, opt in to do something like this with their schools, and if schools are willing to do this in order to profit off of more of their coaches' NIL. So very interesting stuff. That I don't know really if anyone knew about this, or it definitely wasn't public until OWH found out and Sam wrote this article. So this is once again Nebraska trying to find new and creative ways in order to make more money, right? You got to get very, very creative. And Dannon called it a novel use of a gift that otherwise wouldn't have had monetization attached to it at all. So they're going to go ahead and they've now paid Matt Rhule to essentially make them money, whether it be through podcasts or whether it be through sponsorships or whether it be through partnerships or whether it be through fundraisers, whatever it might be. Just turn myself off there for a second. This is just kind of another new and creative way that, all right, we got to make money. Got to figure it out. I guess we're going to pay our coach $5 million to trot him out everywhere and make a profit off of him. It's very interesting. I find all this stuff very interesting, even dating back to, Duke and them being able to kind of come to a deal and be like, okay, if everybody's fine with it, we're going to take our non-contra neutral sites, matchups, and we're going to go and sell it to Amazon Prime to make another dollar off of that to add more money. So at this point, it pays to have an athletic department that is just thinking of new and creative ways to finance the added expense of now having to pay players that continues to skyrocket and go up and up and up and up. So just another kind of added wrinkle to it. Doug in Idaho comments, didn't they learn a lesson last year that he was overexposed? He also writes, how about we win football games? Yeah, but I mean, if there's Matt Rhule's here for the long haul, guys. Like Matt Rhule's here for a very long time. It's just simple math. After the extension, he's going to be given a lot of years in order to get this right? And so while he's here, I think Nebraska kind of just goes, all right, so he's going to be here for a while. And we got to find a way to profit off of that and monetize it. And so the thing about him being overexposed last year, like, you're only overexposed if you lose. Like, that's how I view it.
Yeah.
Like you're only overexposed if you can't get your stuff done on the field, right? If they won last year and they won 9 games or they made to the college football playoff or something of that nature, nobody would have given a damn, right? Honestly, the House Rules podcast would have more subscribers. The House Rules podcast would have more viewers, right? We'd be talking about cuz more often. It just, I'm just saying, I'm just being real. He would have, he would have been, I don't even know the guy's name. I guarantee you I would know cuz's name for sure if they went to the CFP and they were documented through the entire thing. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
So the whole overexposed conversation really just stems from them not winning.
You got to sell yourself to the class of athlete that's young enough to have never seen Nebraska win.
Well, but how do you sell yourself to that class of athlete? That
by being on Pat, by being cool, by being on Pat McAfee.
Yes, but at the same time, by winning.
Yeah,
You want to?
that's
you
part
want to
of
sell
it,
yourself to the class of athlete that's never seen Nebraska win. How about you show what Nebraska winning looks like? Which, kind of to the counterpoint of him being overexposed, if they were to win, and then you see the reaction that everything that he does would get, right? I mean, come on, man. He was a regular on Pat McAfee, on national TV in the Death Star looking podcast room that he was in, and they were losing. And they went 7-6, Can you imagine what his appearances would look like and the craze that would happen if they were in the college football playoff or if they were having double-digit wins and he was exposed like that? I mean, it'd be a different conversation. I'm not like arguing with you or disagreeing with you. It's just I think that when we get into the conversation of him being overexposed, it really just comes back to what happens on the football field, which, got to get that done. Let's talk about the football field. Very interesting interview that Matt Rhule did with Adam Brenneman on the Next Up with Adam Brenneman YouTube channel. 1 and 3-minute video. Very interesting conversations that they were having. Very interesting and just open discussions. It's typically not I'll just be honest, it's not my type of medium to consume. But I consumed it and I actually very much enjoyed it. And there was a lot of things, if you've been following Matt Rhule, there were some things that he I don't want to call it company lines, but there were things that you've heard him say before. There were, phrases that he referred to in the process and, the types of athletes that he recruits and, his process at Temple and Baylor and all that type of stuff. And, what it was like, what he inherited in terms of, he kind of did mention at one point in the interview goes, Scott Frost is, he's a great coach and he couldn't work out here. Definitely there were underlying things that we had to figure out in order to get these, things back on track, which I don't doubt for a second. But he said something that I think if you really went back and you looked at his history of rebuilding Temple and his history of rebuilding Baylor, and you saw how he did it there, and then you compared it to how he did it here when he first got to Nebraska, you would notice there's a difference. He though admitted that difference and admitted, I did not build and I did not come in here and do the same things at Nebraska that I did do at Temple and Baylor. I did one thing at Temple and Baylor, and I actually did another thing at Nebraska. And I think it's kind of interesting and I don't know if I haven't heard him admit this before. But the fact that he goes out there and he's and he does kind of show you, hey, that we're doing things a little bit differently, is kind of interesting. And it begs the question why. But I wanna where's the drop here?
Oh yeah.
Is it where am I?
Bottom F.
I
got it.
You got it? Do it.
Instead of coming in and being like, hey, I have all the answers, ask a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And, I could see early on the amount of guys that truly loved Nebraska that felt the pain of, man, we're not getting it done. And so, whereas other places I had gone and we played all young guys and we said, hey, we're going to build for the future. There were some great guys when I got here. Mm-hmm. And I felt a different sense of responsibility to them to help them leave on a high note. Mm-hmm. And for that first year, those seniors, man, we got to 5 and 7. We had a couple chances to get bowl eligible. We didn't get it done, and that was painful. Mm-hmm. The second year, we got to bowl eligibility, and all those seniors from the year before, Julie and I flew them out to New York, and I wanted them to have that bowl experience.
I just think it's interesting when you go, okay, I had a lot of success at these 2 other stops. And what I did is I basically just played a bunch of young guys. I didn't worry about the guys who were there before. And we lost a lot of football games in year 1. They gained that experience. They were better in year 2. And then that year 3 jump came from them having young guys who were older guys who had a ton of experience under their belt. And the fact is that I can't sit here and say, Well, why didn't he do that at Nebraska? Why didn't he just kick everybody out? Why didn't he just play a bunch of young guys? Why didn't he just do that? Let's be real, guys. If he told Ty to hit the road, if he told Nash to hit the road, if he told Nick Henrich, we don't have a spot for you, if he told Luke Reimer, hey, we're not going to play you, if you told Deshaun Singleton, sorry, man, we're going to move on, we're going to try something else, you would have had a lot of fans here and probably people in the athletic department that were like, whoa, that's not really what we do here. We don't kick people to the curb. We don't tell people to get out. Once you're a Husker, you're a Husker. And also too, if he were to do all of that and kick all those guys to the curb and then lose 11 games, that's not exactly how you indoctrinate yourself within the fan base. That's not exactly how you gain, a reputation, a rapport with the fan base and with the people, in the athletic department. And so I'm not standing up here and say there is no way he could have done that. Let's just be real. That's not something he could have done. He could not have come here and said, hey, everybody who's been here, whether or not you're a walk-on or whether or not you're an in-state guy or whether or not you're an out-of-state guy, see ya. We're bringing in all these new dudes and we're going to play with a bunch of young and we're going to lose a ton of games, but then in year 3, we're going to take a jump. He couldn't have done that. But I do think now it kind of begs the question. Now that older guard is basically gone, now that those guys are graduated, he played a lot of young guys last year. Riley Van Poppel got a lot of playing time last year. Cam Lenhart got a lot of playing time last year. Williams Winery got a lot of playing time last year. Donovan Jones, a lot of playing time last year. I know that he had a lot left to be desired, but Rex Guthrie, a lot of playing time last year. Young player. Same, Vincent Shavers had some pops, but had some growing pains. Young guy, ton of playing time last year. Go on the offensive end, Ja'Cory Barney got another year under his belt. Elijah Pritchett got especially towards the end of the season, started finding a stride. You can kind of point and say, okay, he didn't necessarily build initially this roster the way that he did it in the past, but you can make some more spot-on comparisons between what he did in Temple and Baylor and what they did last year. And what they did last year was they played a lot of young guys and they felt the pain. They felt the growing pains. They had a lot of experience under their belt, but it came with some just really tough outings and some really tough results. And I think it's very interesting for him to go and be like, yeah, we didn't kind of really build it the same that we did over at those two places. But you can kind of start aligning, and maybe this is me being optimistic. Sure, man, you want to shoot me for being optimistic, that's fine. But I'm just telling you,
we fired Schaefer for being positive.
I'm just telling you, if you want to draw some lines as to, okay, how are things comparative to how they did over here and where they had success previously to what's happening now, they did that. They did that last year. They played a lot of young guys. They had growing pains. And what happened to those young guys they played at Temple and Baylor and ended, what happened to those young guys that they lost with playing at Temple and Baylor, those young guys that lost a lot of games, they ended up winning a lot of games. They ended up getting better and they ended up gaining that experience and improving and developing. And so, yeah, maybe the player development hasn't happened in one fell swoop, but it didn't happen necessarily in one fell swoop at Temple and Baylor either. So I think that he was brought here into this situation, and I don't think he could have built this roster the same way that he built those other two rosters, because this is a very different place. But now that he's kind of been more locked in terms of his time here and able to, eventually have the older guard go away, and now you have your younger guard, and they retain. That was a very underrated thing that happened this offseason, was they retained a lot of guys other than Keona and Dylan. Basically, a lot of the guys that, especially on that defensive end, ended up sticking around. I think that's just something to keep in the back of our mind. I think it was very very interesting for him to be like, yeah, we did not build it. we did not build it the same way over here. But I think it is to keep in the back of your minds that kind of that younger model that they used over in his first two other places, kind of used it last year. And I'm very interested to see, especially in this 4-2-5, what does Cam look like? What does Rhule look like? What does Winery look like? What does Shavers look like? What does Jones look like? what does that development look like? What does that jump after having a full season under you look like? And if it's not there, then we're having problems. Then we got to have a talk. Then we got to have some speaks. But if that jump does happen, could be a better season than we expect. All right, coming up next, the Odd News with Josh Oddson here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Josh, what do we got, my friend? What do we got?
Well, Miller Lite going viral right now.
Yeah.
For their World Cup promotion, limited edition match ball 12-pack.
Do you have a? I did.
A better producer would have loaded a picture.
No, a better
into the
host would have
stream.
told the producer to do that.
Well,
that's
that's okay. You didn't know I was doing this.
Good point.
It's already less than a month until the World Cup. Really, a month. And one
We'll talk
top,
about
I guess it's going on during the College World
The
Series. One top beverage company celebrating the biggest tournament in sports in a very unique way. Miller Lite debuting the match ball, a white and gold ball, 1.5 times larger than a regulation size soccer ball that can hold 12 Miller Lights and is fully reloadable throughout match days. It's a signature part of the beer's brand Miller Time is on Us campaign. US, us, get it? A play on words.
Oh, really?
sort of.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. It's not actually on them.
That's fine.
Yeah, so
So I have the picture here. I have
you
the
do?
picture.
Yes.
So this
Thank
is
you,
this
Matt.
is the match ball. Will I be buying it? You bet your ass I will be. Are you kidding me? Only $20 for this sucker? Look at this thing.
Yeah, that's
This is
pretty cool.
That's awesome. Now look. Will I be walking around the pregame with my big old soccer ball with all my Miller Lights in it, drinking out of it? No, I will not be. Will I put that on a mantle? You bet your butt I will.
Look, if you see me walking around Lot D with this thing,
Oh my God.
you just walk up to me and your buddy Josh has got one for you.
Look, I would never tell you that I won the lottery, but there would be signs.
You don't have to. It's only
There would-
$20.
There would be signs.
It's
Look
$20.
Look at so I'm going to be real with you. There are a lot of idiots like me who are like fired up for this. Okay, who are like, I'm going to have to camp out somewhere, and I'm going to have to go in, and I'm going to have to purchase this ball. I am a sucker too for like Busch Light does a really good job with the custom cans. Like if I see a custom can for Busch Light, I just buy it.
Oh wow, really?
Oh yeah, like
Okay.
the Bass the Bass Pro Shop cans that they
Mhm.
just sold. Got them.
Had one of those this
and
week.
I collected them. And Miller Lite, when they did their golden anniversary, right? They had the golden cans. I have that. I have a golden can that's collected.
Do you leave them full or do you?
So I
open them,
drink.
empty them,
I
and clean
drink
them?
the beer and then I put water in them.
Okay.
It's probably not super safe or anything. Someone's going to tell me.
So you just have standing water in your house?
I have emptied out and yes.
Okay.
Is that not good?
It's not great.
No, but I did dump it out one time and put it back in.
Okay.
That did happen. Multiple.
I think you're okay. I'm not a doctor, though. I just want to really make that clear to you.
Yeah, probably should.
Not a doctor.
Okay, go ahead.
We go to Florida.
Oh,
If you'd like to guess, yes.
mail. Convenience store. And we'll go a 2x4.
Wrong.
Dang
But police are investigating after a burglary at University High School Thursday morning. In a release, police said 2 unidentified white males were seen jumping the fence near the gymnasium around 1 a.m. After entering a building through an unlocked door, the suspects apparently messed with bicycles and equipment before going into a classroom and taking about $50 worth of lanyards. I don't know how. That must be like 1 million lanyards to total $50, but whatever. The suspects then entered a second classroom and stole miscellaneous items, including 100 hot dogs.
My God. I mean, do you need that many?
I don't know. That's a lot.
It's a lot of hot dogs.
It's a lot of hot dogs.
How many hot dogs is too many hot dogs? Full question.
Good question. Finally, a bit of a journey here on this one, but go with me.
Okay, I will.
I won't take up too much time.
Go
A
ahead.
German tourist has been awarded more than $1,100 by judges after his family was left without a sun lounger. That's like the long
Yeah.
chairs
Yeah.
while on vacation in Greece because other guests had gotten there first. While vacationing with his wife and 2 children in summer of 2024, the man who has not been identified claims the loungers were unavailable beginning at 6 a.m. The traveler paid $8,500 for an 11-day trip. He would get to the park every day and not get a lounger, and his family was apparently mad enough to press charges.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Be better is probably what my thing is. Just be better.
Yeah,
Just be be
this is
earlier.
your family.
I don't know what to tell you. Just like improve. Be better at player development or be better at buying players. We'll talk about that next here on Middays with Matt. All right, doing my Preakness reading here.
Yeah, what are you learning?
It's
Like,
gonna
don't spoil anything, but
it's going to be a very top-heavy Preakness. A lot of the guys who kind of meet the criteria in the past to win this race, pretty low odds. Incredible was a horse that we really liked for the Kentucky Derby. He ran well in the Kentucky Derby, which if you run and you run well in the Kentucky Derby, historically you have a pretty good shot at winning the Preakness Stakes. He was, I think he ended at 15-1. He started around 26-1 for the Kentucky Derby. He's now 5-1. Riley Mott horse. The horse had a lot of one of the reasons why he wasn't very heavily favored in the Kentucky Derby was he had a long layoff and he hadn't run as well like recently and stuff like that. But he hasn't had a long layoff, right? 2 weeks later, a couple weeks later, he's going to run in this race. And then on top of that, he ran well in the Derby. So it's no surprise that he is atop the leaderboard right now in terms of odds. And then you have Taj Mahal. He's a new shooter. He wasn't in the Kentucky Derby, but he's a very, very good horse as well. Has good early pace. His late pace isn't great, but he's definitely the type of horse can just kind of go wire to wire. There's another horse that a lot of people like called Iron Honor. But do you know who he's being ridden by?
our nemesis,
Flavian Pratt. So one horse that I really do like, Crupper. Crupper.
Not a Derby horse.
Not a Derby horse. New
which
shooter.
Which is fine.
His odds are 30-1. Pretty high overall. I mean, he had a really, really bad race a couple of months ago, but his most recent race looked pretty good overall. Had a good speed rating, so I think he'll be there. Very good value at 30-1. But it's kind of one of those things where the horses that are very likely to win this race are very, very low odds at this point. So we're probably going to go with a high exacta, meaning probably go with a 3 to 4 horse exacta that'll be placed at a pretty high number. That'll be most of the bet, and then I'll probably just take a long shot at either Crupper or there's another horse, Corona de Oro, who has some pretty good odds based on the reading that I've come together. So there you go. There is your 3-minute Preakness Stakes preview from Matt McMaster. We will have a 7 to 8 minute segment on the Preakness Stakes on Friday with our very good friend Chase Sessoms, who came on, previewed the Derby, even though I gave you the winner and he didn't. He'll come on and he'll give you he's the Prince of the Preakness that's his bit.
It's a good nickname.
It's a very interesting bit where you're like, I'm great at the second
leg of the Triple Crown.
Man, I can't get over this cough.
Yeah.
And this running nose. It's ridiculous. And then you get something. I'm having a sneeze attack right now.
Now, are you doing anything to help? Or are you just hoping it goes away?
I had an emergency a couple days ago.
Oh, a couple days ago. Okay.
Yeah, I hurt my back sneezing that time. I pulled something.
Yeah. So one time Sammy Sosa missed a game because he sneezed too hard.
I did know that. Dude,
I laughed at that for years until I was like 30 and sneezed too hard and really had a tough day with my back.
My upper delt now because I went down like that. And now, oh my God, here.
Oh no, is it coming again?
You know, I had a girl in my class I went to grade school with. She said if you said watermelon, if you said watermelon 3 times, that it would stop you from sneezing. Yeah. Oh. But the problem is it just comes.
What's the theory behind that? Bless you. Should I be saying bless you each time?
Yeah. So
could I give you a blanket bless you?
You know what? No. You could be sincere over and over again.
Okay.
What, does it kill you to be nice?
Well, I don't have the data back yet.
Well, you're still alive, so.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the con.
There, I'm going to need you to host the show for 2 seconds.
I've done it before. I'll do it again. And that's a threat.
No, it's not.
Not to you, to the audience.
Some people said it was the best episode of Middays with Matt. Unshockingly, it was Doug and John who thought that. And Andy, too.
They're just trying to make you better.
Is that it? Do we just treat Matt? We just act like an ass to Matt for an extended period of time and say, "Hey, I was just doing it for your own good." that's why I was mean to you, because I liked you?
It's not what we're doing.
All right.
We love you and we want you to be better.
I'm trying to be better. All right. Let's talk about a team that's also trying to be better. The Nebraska football Cornhuskers, real quick. Tinfoil Matt. So I was thinking about this yesterday, right? And Nebraska, if they wanted to, if it was all about I thought it was very interesting that Brian Seeley was very non-combatant and was like, we want the athletes to get paid. We hope they resubmit the deals. We hope everything, goes well. And this is nothing. We're not trying to brag or anything like that. We like that the system worked. We like that we were right. But at the same time, we want Nebraska to resubmit the deals so their athletes can get paid. And it was very interesting to me. And, there are now reports that Nebraska is working on resubmitting these deals, right? And having them go through the clearinghouse. And Seeley even, mentioned the process being expedited, right? So they could get the money as quick as possible. I think it was, a lot of people approached that and said, well, that's what Nebraska does. Nebraska is above board. Nebraska's always followed the rules. Nebraska's always done it the right way. And we even talked to Tim Verghese about it. And Timmy was like, there is a world where we'll have more regulation and we'll have actual rules and we'll have punishments. And the teams that maybe go against some of these current institutions are going to have to eat it a little bit later because, that's just one of those, it's just going to bite you in the butt if you cheat now. That could happen in the future. And I think that's kind of what we've assigned a little bit to Nebraska, working within the constraints of the CSC, and in particular, not going immediately to a state level through the Attorney General to strike this ruling down and get their athletes paid. That's what we've assigned it to. Nebraska being above board, Nebraska doing things the right way, Nebraska understanding, hey, in the future, we don't want any of our decisions that maybe we trample through current legislation to come and hurt us. That's all fine and dandy. But I think there's another aspect, and I didn't realize it until I was sitting down thinking about it. Nebraska does not necessarily stand to benefit by the destruction of the CSC. Nebraska doesn't necessarily stand to benefit by the powers that be not having power. And what I mean by that is, if this whole process was just about getting the athletes money, Nebraska could easily go through their Attorney General and they could get them paid, and that would be all that. But rendering the CSC powerless actually, and this is all in theory, but it's also in logic, actually makes Texas Tech stronger. It actually makes LSU stronger. It actually makes BYU stronger. It actually makes those teams that we talk about that have those billionaires who can write blank checks. It makes those schools stronger because, all right, now that there are no rules, we can just spend money all willy-nilly and it's going to be okay. And we can up the ante of how much these rosters cost. We can have $70 million rosters and $80 million rosters and $90 million rosters. The CSC, the College Sport Commission, and their ability to limit these, pay-for-play third-party deals, actually kind of keeps the gap a little bit closer between Nebraska and these other schools. And so I wonder if in Troy Dannon's mind, or in the back of Troy Dannon's mind, that them losing in a way and them establishing, and the CSC establishing that they have power and this is things that can do, it actually keeps the gap closer between Nebraska and the other schools who can spend that ridiculous amount of money. I really wonder if maybe that's a part of their play here about them not being very combatant and them not going through the state and them not, once again, if this was only about getting the athletes money, then Nebraska doesn't need to redo and resubmit these deals and redo the paperwork and go through the proper channels. They can just do it. But I think we need to realize that Nebraska does not stand to benefit as much as these other schools by the CSC not being around. And there was also a very interesting line from Andy Staples in his article yesterday where he goes, Nebraska was looking for guidance from the CSC in terms of how to get these deals done. And in a weird way, them being denied has given them that guidance. It's essentially like taking a test and then not doing well on that test, but then your teacher giving you back the test and saying, all right, this is what you did wrong. Here's what you need to do right. And then allowing you to retake that for your final grade, right? That's awesome. That's great. All right. I know the answers now. I know the questions now. I know what I have to do. Let me write that down. All right, cool. Hand it in. We're all good to go. And it's almost as if, and tinfoil Matt here, like, I wonder if this whole arbitration process was a little bit like a Trojan horse. Hey, we're gonna submit these deals, and you are going to tell us, okay, this is what we need to do. This is how we properly get, funnel the money. This is how we properly launder the money to our athletes. Okay, thank you for telling us how to do that. We're gonna do it that way. And also, we've now established you as somebody who has power, who can make these arbitration decisions, who can win these cases. That strengthens your validity and also keeps us a little bit more in tow with what the other schools are spending. Because like I said, if Nebraska decided, now screw you, screw Brian Seeley, screw the CSC, screw NIL Go, screw this clearinghouse, we want to have our players and we want to pay our players this money, there are ways to do that. There are state laws that allow you to go through those processes, right? But the fact that they aren't doing that, I think, to me, communicates that there's other intentions here. I mean, by Nebraska having the out of going through the state and deciding, no, we're not going to take that out, we're going to go through you and we're going to try and do this the proper way, there's a motive there. There's a motive. And
is there a segment of recruits that you can go and say, we are clearly doing everything above board.
Maybe
you want to win
yeah.
the right, if you want to win the right way in today's game, you come to Nebraska.
I think, that could be the case. But I also think now if the CSC comes to you and says, okay, guys, this is how you screwed this up. You actually want to do it this way, or you actually need to partner up with these people, or you actually have to put the money here. Then now, couldn't Nebraska go to donors a little bit more confident, being like, all right, this is how we're going to get your money here, or this is how we're going to do things here. This is like, you kind of learn throughout the process. But I think that, I took a step back yesterday and kind of realized if this was about just paying players the money and making sure that your roster is what your roster is and nobody's leaving it and you're still, you're still paying the players what you need to pay the players, there was a way to do that isn't the way that they're doing it. And so if you're not doing it that way, why are you doing it this way? And I think it's just very clear. If the CSC doesn't exist, Nebraska is not the team that benefits. The team that benefits is the teams that have those billionaires, that have those insane amount of money. So I think if you're just kind of reading between the lines and you're reading what Andy is writing and, you're seeing how Dan is going about this and his statement about, we're going to work within the parameters and we're going to be, jolly old good Nebraska. Like, I think that if you read between the lines here, that they understand that regulation is more to their benefit than non-regulation, because that is more to the benefit of the teams that have all of that money, that have the billionaires, and they don't. So I think this whole process, when you look at it at face value, you go, oh my God, 25% of their salary isn't being approved. And why can't everybody cheat and we can't? And, why is Nebraska the one that gets shut down? And why are these deals that don't go through? Like, if you look at it that, like, yeah, you can maybe press the panic button and be like, well, worry about it. But I think that if you try and think of like, why are they doing this? Like, what is the motive of properly going through the parameters? I think, to me, I've recognized that I think regulation stands to benefit Nebraska more than it stands to benefit the people who don't have regulation. So I think this process is very interesting, and I think it's the aftermath of this whole thing, we'll go ahead and say, the aftermath of this decision and how Nebraska acts after it, in my opinion, is more intriguing than the legitimate decision to say, no, Nebraska can't pay their athletes X amount of dollars. It is wildly interesting to me, though, that it was a consensus at some point that it was $1 million spread across 18 athletes. And then that number went up 7.5 times the original value we thought it was. That was super interesting to me. Steve Sipple wrote an article yesterday. A lot of people discussed it and had some opinions on it. And it was basically, I mean, the title is it's an attention grabber, right? When you go adding some fairness into the Matt Rhule offseason discussion. He had one very interesting quote here that to me is I don't know if Steve intended this when he wrote it, and I'm going to ask him tomorrow when we talk about it. But I think it is the core of what college sports is now. And really, it's the core of what pro sports has been for a while. But I think it's way more, I think it's way more prevalent in this kind of market that we currently exist in college sports. Simple writes this. That's not to say we should let Rhule off the hook in terms of expectations. We should all watch it very closely. Keep in mind, his boss, Troy Dannon, likes to say he wants coaches who can make $1.25 out of $1. Or do you get 75 cents out of the $1 value you spend? That is the key to that's the key to all of this right now, right? How do you maximize your resources? How do you, we talked about it a lot on the morning show. Like, if anything, this era of college football is really going to separate who the coaches are and who aren't the coaches. This era of just college sports is really, if you can coach, you can coach. And if you are a high level coach, you are going to find success. And I think maybe in the past, you could maybe make some arguments that there were situations that could maybe mask your true ability to coach with some other factors. But now that the talent is as spread out as it is, and you can't stockpile, to your point, the margins are a lot thinner now, right? The margins are a lot smaller now in terms of the amount of success that you can have. How Kirby Smart has been talking all about it in terms of we can't stockpile like we used to, and we don't have the depth as much as we used to have in the past, which means that you got to really maximize what you currently have because the safety net isn't there as much. And when Sipple writes, Dannon likes guys who make $1.25 out of $1, I immediately think, well, that's what Rhule was brought here to do. Like even before we really got into the money and the $50 million rosters and the $60 million rosters and the maximizing revenue and all that type of stuff, just off of the basis of Nebraska hasn't developed play. I mean, that's kind of what Trev based a lot of the hire off of. Trev wasn't a dummy. Trev looked at where Nebraska was in recruiting rankings, and Trev looked at where they had been in wins. Trev knew, especially where you're situated in the middle of the country, where you're not next to these super mega high school pipelines with all these great players. Trev knew, all right, if we're going to get a guy, like we're going to have success here, we got to be really good at developing players. And that's where a lot of the success started, was Nebraska was great when Nebraska was Nebraska, they were great at developing players. Matt Rhule was hired to be the guy who made $1.25 out of $1 before it was cool. Matt Rhule was hired to be the guy to make $1.25 out of $1 before you needed to make $1.25 out of $1.
He did it everywhere else, right?
He did it literally everywhere else. Now he did it in a different way, which is what he admitted on Adam Bredeman's, YouTube interview. When I was at Temple and Baylor, kicked everybody out. I mean, he didn't say it that way. He said he played all the young guys. But if you're playing all the young guys, that means you're not doing what? Playing the old guys. When he got here, he played all the old guys. And we explained, I don't blame him for doing that at all. He had to do what he did. But before it was necessary, that's why Matt Rhule was brought here. And I don't know if he's made, that's funny. That'd be a great prompt. Has Matt Rhule made $1 out of $1? Or has Matt Rhule made 90 cents out of $1? I think it's probably he's made $1 out of $1 at this point. I think that'd probably be more fair. Maybe you can make the argument he's made 96 cents out of $1, but that's splitting hairs.
Bishop said on Twitter this morning he thinks it's about 66 cents or something like that.
To $1?
Yeah.
It's not like he came here and the cupboards were full.
I mean,
I don't agree with that. It's not like he came in here and he inherited a 8-win roster. He came in here and he inherited a 4-8 roster. He came in here and he inherited, not necessarily great recruiting classes that were all just beaming with a ton of talent. Like he had to come in here and he had to build it from the bottom up and, build it with, and those older guys provided him, and he talks about in his interview, they provided him stability that he needed in the program. I don't think he's made 66 cents out of $1.
They're spending roughly 2/3 of what the elite in the conference are spending, and they're getting almost 2/3 of what the schools are getting.
66 cents. I mean, you got to understand like what he inherited and I'm just talking from a pure talent roster standpoint. Like, it's not like he came in here and he inherited a super talented roster. There were holes everywhere. You had to replace a quarterback. Sure. You had an offensive line that was a turnstile in pass protection the year prior. You had very limited weapons overall on the offensive side. You had a pretty good running back room. You had a D-line that was super inexperienced. Your secondary was pretty in tow, and linebackers who were fine, but not necessarily difference makers. I don't know what were you expecting him to do, right, in the first 2 seasons? Now, if you want to say, I'm more so looking overall. All right, I'm more so looking overall. If you want to say that he probably was a little bit lesser. I mean, he was lesser than $1 last year. Let's be real with that. They did not meet expectations last year. They did not meet expectations last year. And I think there's been a reason why we haven't had this discussion. I don't think it's unfair to say that even if Dylan was playing in those last 3 games, the result of those 3 games are not different. Do they get their asses kicked? Maybe not as bad, but they definitely don't win them. Now, the what if will always come down to the USC game. If it doesn't get hurt in the USC game, is he $1 to $1? Which is why I do think it's closer to, probably 96, 97 cents. 66 cents is kind of crazy. I don't agree with
I love the conversation. I don't know where I land, which makes for terrible radio, but
I don't agree with
I love the conversation.
Hey, if you want to call in 429511620, what does Matt Rhule made $1 on? Prairie Flower Casino's on hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. No, 66 cents is too low. That's way too low. I can't subscribe to that. I can't subscribe to that based off of what he got when he got here. You want to tell me that, they got 85 cents to $1 last year? Because you want to say that Dylan didn't develop enough and Dane Key wasn't a good enough wide receiver you acquired from the portal, and the defensive line didn't take enough steps throughout the season, and so on and so forth. You want to say that he's got less than $1 from last season? That's fine. Overall, though, I think 66 cents is a little out there.
Then I won't tell you. He actually said 65 cents.
Bill texted in to the Prairie Flower Casino is on text line. The 2 segments on NU and CSC you've done the last 2 days were 2 of the best segments you've had on your show. Oh. Can tell you put some good work and thought into it. Good stuff. Thank you, Bill. See? John's going to come in and be like, "No, you suck anyway. I appreciate you." I'm sure Andy and I love those people, by the way. But I'm telling you, this CSC stuff is wildly interesting for me because, and I encourage you and I implore you to go and read Andy Staples because he breaks it down so well on 3. And I've been trying to get him on the show because I want to commend him for the great work that he's done and talk to him about it. But I'll say this, the CSC is standing on wobbly legs. Okay. The CSC is standing on wobbly legs. And if it was really just about getting the players money, Nebraska could come through, with the state and the attorney general and get the players that money, but it would deem the CSC useless. And Nebraska is doing the College Sports Commission a favor in a way by not going through the state and not going through the AG and instead trying to do things in the proper manner. Before we hit a break here, Nick has called in the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. He has his opinion on Nebraska and $1. Nick, thank you so much for calling in, my friend. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I would say over the last 25 years, we're spending about a nickel out of that dollar.
Maybe,
down
yeah.
there with that
Yeah.
program. Couple things though, real quick, is one, how much money under the tables, the SEC was doing for as long as they were. How much of a difference is that now with it being public record, saying we're spending 2/3 less of the top programs? I mean, how far were we behind when the money was being shuffled in envelopes?
Great point.
And then two, why is every other program winning down there besides the one that's getting the most money? It would be a different argument if the other programs that aren't making anything down there weren't doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like I could see, we need better roster, we need better players, but at the end of the day, I mean, some of these other programs don't have those rosters that are doing that down there.
It's a great point.
So,
It's a great point. I mean, what was Indiana spending 2 years ago when they made the college football playoff, right? They spent a lot last season, but the year before when they went 11-1 and lost to Notre Dame in the CFP, what were they spending then? I don't think it was nearly as much as maybe people would think. So I appreciate the call, Nick. I think this is always going to boil down to this, and it just comes from my life of basically my entire life being a pro sports fan. Just because you spend the most money doesn't mean you're going to win, right? And I think the expectations a lot of times just have to boil down to who's your coach, what's the culture you've built, and do you trust that? And do you trust what he's built? And you can have a great culture, and you can build that culture, and you can have a really smart coach, and you can have a locked-in coach, and you not spend a lot of money, and you win. Talk to the Tampa Bay Rays about that, huh? Right? Talk to the Milwaukee Brewers about that. You have Pat Murphy, you got a really good front office, you got all that, you can win, you can spend less money, and I only use baseball because that is the closest thing we got going here. You can win that way. You can spend a lot of money, but if you don't have a good coach and you don't have a good culture and you don't have all for one and one for all, and you all your guys together trying to win game in and game out, and you don't have that solid core, you're not going to win. You're not. Ask the Mets. Ask the Red Sox. Ask what the Phillies are going through right now, right? Like, that's just one of those things where you got to have that solid foundation, and core locked in before we start really talking about the dollars. That's how I view it. Alrighty, coming up next, I'm gonna tease us a little bit. I'm gonna give you a couple dates that you should mark on your calendar in the summer. I was hanging out with somebody yesterday, Bigelow, and he got my eyes turned to a weekend that is going to be incredible. We talk about that next here on Middays with Matt. All right, PJ Tucker is now in the media, I guess. You remember PJ Tucker, the power forward, more famously played with the Suns, but more famously played for the Houston Rockets during the Chris Paul, James Harden years. If you're a ball knower, you'll get this. They need to have PJ on the live broadcast for ESPN, and they need to cut to him. Maybe a little bit like they don't need to Booger McFarland him, where they like have him going across on his own machine, down the football field, but you just have to put him in a corner. Just put him in a corner and just call it PJ's corner and have him do analysis from the games. And the reason why is PJ Tucker was always in the corner. He just always was in the corner pocket, waiting for Chris Paul to throw him the ball, waiting for James Harden to throw him the ball. Just always sitting there. That was his bit. That was his deal. Corner 3 specialist, PJ Tucker. They got to get the PJ's corner. See, I'm doing marketing here for ESPN.
That one's free. You guys can take it.
You can take that one. We can't afford PJ Tucker.
Right.
We can't have PJ's corner here on 1620 The Zone. Placat goes best shoe collection in the league. You bet your butt. Man, he had some fire on his feet. It was incredible. And then he actually did a YouTube video where he like went through his entire shoe collection. I get it. Like I'm on the. Have I told you like? Every couple of years, I just buy a ton of shoes, and then I don't buy shoes for an extended period of time, and then it kind of repeats itself. So I like buy it. So I'm in kind of the process right now of buying a lot of my shoes. I get it. It's addicting. Like I've gotten some really nice pairs of shoes recently. I can understand how people can fall into the trap of being like, oh no, I like this. I like buying shoes. I like collecting shoes.
Okay.
I get it. I get the love for it. I get the addiction for it. I'm not willing to spend my money on that. That's not something I'm willing to dip my feet into in terms of, or dip my finances into. Oh, dip my feet was actually kind of a good pun.
There was, yeah.
But anyway, all these, I just feel like I turn on Get Up on ESPN and then I blink my eyes and there's a different former role player from the NBA who's co-hosting on the show.
They love doing this during the playoffs, trying out new media talent.
Do you think they just spin a wheel of like what 2010's role player are we going to have on today? Oh, hey, we're going to have Jose Calderon on the show today. Let's go. Okay, it's Al Farouk Amino's day. All right, let's go, Al Farouk.
These are some polls, my friend.
I miss Al Farouk. Do you remember that Al Farouk Amino, Mo Harkless, Damian Lillard Trailblazers team that made it to the Western Conference Finals? Talk about length. That Trailblazer team was all about length before it was cool, before Nasai Ujiri decided to make it really cool in Toronto. If you know, you know. Oh, all right. It's Etwan Moore's time on ESPN. It's the Etwan debate with Green. Talking about sports here, I was watching some sports last night at a very nice local establishment with a good friend of mine. Had the 4 TV setup, had the Braves on, the Minnesota Timberwolves on, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Nebraska versus Creighton Blue Jay baseball game, which is only going on about a block and a half away from where we were at. And a buddy of mine, Bigelow, was like, "Hey, have you seen this weekend we're setting up for in June?" I go, what are you talking? What? This might be one of the best sport weekends I've seen in quite some time. Okay. And I just want to put it out there to get some people fired up. Okay. Especially if some things happen the way that it happened. So let me direct your attention to June 18th through the 21st. Okay. June 18th through the 21st. You have the weekend of the College World Series going on here in Omaha. You and I will be there. We'll be in the Omaha Baseball Village.
That would be championship weekend.
Championship weekend of the College World Series. Also going on during that time will be the World Cup. It would have started the week prior. Also going on that weekend, what I think is, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, the second biggest golf major, the U.S. Open, will be going on during that same weekend. All in one weekend. You will get the College World Series. You will get the World Cup. You will get golf. You will have baseball going on. Now, let me give you a couple hypotheticals here. If the NBA Finals were to go to Game 7, if we were to have 7 games in the NBA Finals, it would be played on June 19th. That would be the Friday, by the way. If we were to go to Game 7 in the NHL Finals, that game would be played on June 21st. Also, Game 6 would be played on June 17th, a day before, but still, you would have all of that stuff encompassing that. We have the opportunity. I mean, if we get to 2, now I'll just say we'll probably just get to, I think, you know what? The NHL Finals, put it on the board. The Stanley Cup Finals will go to Game 7.
Whoa.
I think the Cup Finals will go to Game 7. I think that the Colorado Avalanche are going to have a fine time beating the Vegas Golden Knights. I think the Carolina Hurricanes, big win yesterday, by the way, by Buffalo. Gritty win by the Sabres. I think Carolina will have no problem with either Buffalo or Montreal, and I think we're going to have a Carolina versus Colorado 7-game Stanley Cup final. Put it on the board.
Okay.
Those two teams it's just a different class right now. I mean, they are just playing different style, just different classes of hockey. I don't think the Hurricanes are going to have any sort of problem getting through Buffalo or Montreal, and no problem going through Philadelphia. And I think that Colorado, I mean, the way they've Minnesota is going to have its moment. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota picks up one more win here. I would be very impressed if Colorado closed it out in 5. They've just been the better team overall in that series if you've been watching it. And they just have a perfect, they have the perfect mix of skill, speed, but also the physicality that you need in order to be successful in the NHL playoffs. So that's the weekend, though. Championship weekend of the CWS, plus the World Cup, plus the U.S. Open, plus potentially game 6s and 7s in the NBA Finals and in the Stanley Cup Finals. Hard pressed to find a better weekend than that.
So this isn't the same weekend, but it's something I learned last night, and hand up, it's completely me being an idiot. Did you know that the UFC at the White House event
is also
it's June 14th? Again, hand up, idiot me, just sort of thought this was like a 4th of July weekend thing, but I guess they probably have other things planned for that weekend.
By the way,
at the White House.
Do you know what I just typed into my browser? Idiot White House.
No, that's not what I said. I want to be crystal clear.
No. What is it? UFC White House. So I will tell you, you're not an idiot.
It's on a Sunday.
It is on, June 14th, which is a Sunday. Here's why you're not an idiot. It was originally supposed to be on 4th of July weekend. Okay. That was originally supposed to be the plan. That was what they were going for. Breaking, the White House was already booked for July 4th on the 250th anniversary.
It makes sense.
You know, they like Dana. They actually love Dana. But I think they were like, hey, respectfully, we kind of got that marked out for something else. We don't need to see, a Spaniard beat up an American here. No offense.
I don't
June 14th, though. Fine.
I didn't think about it. There was a lot of assumptions on my part.
My buddy Quinn goes, it's called the Freedom Fights 250, Matt. Get it right.
Yeah, you want to get the verbiage right.
We should probably get a UFC guy on for that. Last time we had a UFC guy on and he would give us bets, I would take those bets and I would lose.
We'll fade him.
I did, and I started winning.
Yeah.
I've actually found that the best UFC bets are my own UFC bets. So same thing with
horse racing.
Can I be real with you? I cannot bet baseball. I can't bet basketball. I can't bet hockey. I barely can bet football. But for whatever reason, when it comes to fighting and animals, I'm all over it. There's something about 2 men or 2 women kicking the crap out of each other that just makes, I just see it before it happens. And there's one thing about just a stallion crossing the finish line. I just see it happening in my brain. Actually, what is I don't even know I used to be massive into the UFC. and like know all the fighters and know everything that was going on. I've fallen out of it. I don't even know the card. I believe Ilya Taporia is on the card. Let's see here. It's Taporia versus Gaethje and Pereira versus Cyril Gane. Actually, some decent fights. Pereira is going to knock the crap out of Gane, and Taporia is going to knock the crap out of Gaethje. That's probably going to happen, but pretty competitive. Oh, what was that call about? What do they have to?
Little extra intel.
On the UFC 250.
On the fights.
Yeah, what about it?
That is Donald Trump's birthday.
Some would call that the birthday of America.
Which incredible flex. Not even like I understand everything I say sounds sarcastic. I trust me, that's a self-scout I have. It ain't changing. That's a hell of a flex.
Yeah, we're gonna have these guys fighting on my birthday. That is like the closest you can get to the Roman Empire, by the way.
A little bit. Yeah.
Like the president is going to have two gladiators fight on his lawn in front of him. Is Donnie gonna give is he gonna give the thumbs up or thumbs down? Quinn goes, I saw Matt drop to his knees when Poirier got head kicked by Gaethje. Yeah, so Dustin Poirier, my favorite fighter of all time, gets knocked out. Quinn's over.
Oh no!
And we're eating a pizza, and Quinn saw me hurl a pizza, not a pizza, the pizza box across the room, and then
okay, yeah, don't be wasting pizza.
And then I go, I'm going to McKinney's. He's going with me. And they're all like, oh, we'll go. Whatever, not doing anything. It was tough. It was a tough day. All right, let's hit a break. And let's talk a little Nebraska baseball. Hell of a win. We'll do that coming up next here on Middays with Matt. Nebraska softball will be in action tomorrow against in action on Friday against South Dakota. Just looking at their schedule, it's still incredible to me. 46-6, only 6 losses this season. By the way, so they lose to number 1 Texas. Well, they beat number 1 Texas later in the week. They lose to number 20 Georgia, number 3 Tennessee. Don't worry, that same invitation they beat number 12 LSU and number 1 Texas. And it's kind of funny. Like you go through their schedule. Yeah, okay, hey, they have a loss to the number 21 ranked Oklahoma State. To Oklahoma State, and then it's like, well, they beat Texas A&M, who was number 11, and South Carolina 9-1, who was number 13 at the time. So this team, they did get a little fortunate and didn't have to play Washington or Oregon, who were definitely the other class of the Big Ten, but they played UCLA 4 different times. They went 3-1 against them, and they beat them by 7-2 when they were the number 6 team in the country to win the Big Ten tournament. So really excited for all the people who have been diehards for softball for quite some time who are going to watch them play on Friday against the Summit League champion South Dakota Coyotes. So let's go over here. Let's talk about baseball too, which, by the way, real quick, a tweet. I want to shout out Tyler Kai, who is the deputy athletic director for revenue generation of the University of Nebraska. I want to shout him out just because he had a very good tweet that clarified things. I know it was a big point of contention in terms of softball, right? And the season tickets and everything like that. Donors and how much you've donated and whatnot, and your tier on the Husker Athletic Fund, like dictated like what priority you would get in terms of getting softball tickets. Tyler tweeted, all season ticket holders had an opportunity to purchase tickets. 1,000+ tickets were available to the public at 3 p.m. And ticket holders who resell their postseason tickets are ineligible to purchase in later rounds, which the last one, if you're somebody who is Husker, you're up there and you use that priority in order to resell to make a profit. I think it is right that they go ahead and they make them ineligible to buy tickets in later rounds. And it still is, in my opinion, a disservice not to give regular season ticket holders first priority. I'm glad all of the season ticket holders had an opportunity to get the tickets. So kudos to that and good for them. But I still think that your regular season ticket holder, you should get top priority, first priority, but it is what it is.
And you should probably, I understand all athletes are the same in the eyes of the university. Maybe you just let Jordy Fromm have as many tickets as she wants.
Yeah, that'd probably be a smart idea. Let's also talk about Nebraska baseball. Isn't it fun when you go, hey, this team should do this, or this team needs to do this better, and then they go ahead and the next season they do that? Like with the Nebraska baseball, like, hey, they got to be a little bit better in the non-con.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead. We'll beat Auburn and we'll beat Florida State. We'll get those 2 wins. Hey, we'll go ahead and we'll sweep USC, who is 8 right now in the RPI. Hey, you need to be better in the midweek. All right, we'll be better in the midweek, and we're not going to slip up against some non-Power 5 opponents. Hey, you got to beat Creighton more, man. Like you haven't swept them since 2015. Okay, we'll go ahead and sweep Creighton. Nebraska currently 14th in the RPI. According to NCAA.com, still on the borderline, but definitely in contention to host a regional. We'll see. I think the softball ticket sales got contentious. We'll see what happens with the baseball ticket sales. But still, both baseball and softball for Nebraska, killing it. And softball starting their postseason on Friday. All right, Wacky Guess Wednesday coming up next here on 1620 Zone.
It's Wacky Guest Wednesday. Middays with Matt. Who is our guest? We don't know. It could be anybody. It could be an actress. It could be a singer. Could be your mom. A-O, let's go. They're in the green room. Who's our guest? We don't know. They're all booked up and they're ready to go. Hey, Josh, choose a guest.
This is so bad.
Make them interesting.
It
Don't
doesn't,
screw this up.
It doesn't get any
Or this will
better.
suck. It's Wacky
All right.
Guest Wednesday.
Wacky Guest Wednesday.
Middays with Matt.
Here on Middays with Matt.
Who is
We
our
can
guest?
Turn this down a little bit.
Gotta let the intro play.
It's so bad. Let's get wacky, as Black Cat would say. And for those who don't know, Wacky Guest Wednesday, every single Wednesday at 1 o'clock, like we are here right now. Josh books a guest. I have no idea who it's going to be. Who are we going to talk to? Could be an actor, could be an actress, just like the song says. So who is our wacky guest today, Josh?
Well, you know, we've been doing this for however many months, and it's always a guest that you've, I don't know, gotten along with, someone you know, someone you want to talk to.
Sure.
What if it was someone you hated with a fiery passion? Tomorrow is the release of the NFL schedule. And in-house here at 1620 The Zone, we have a guy who just makes an NFL schedule every offseason. It's Joey Colbert, producer of Happer and Schaefer. Mornings on 1620 The Zone. He's here in studio with us to, I don't know what you guys want to talk. You want to talk Packers Bears? You want to talk the schedule? You want to talk how he makes his off-season schedule? I mean, it's really up to you, wherever you want to go, Matt. Hi, Joey. How you doing?
I'm great, Josh.
Thanks
How
for
are you
doing this.
I'm sure you are. Yeah, real creative, Josh. Real creative.
It's topical.
To book Joey to come on the show. Why are you the way that you are?
I mean, why not? Why not?
That's
just me.
What do you mean? Why not? Why are you a Packers fan? Why are you a Celtics fan?
That's a good question, Matt. I don't know. When I was a kid, I had the N64, and that was
good system.
One of the NFL games on there was NFL Quarterback Club 99, and the cover athlete was Brett Favre. So I ended up just playing the game. I enjoyed it, and then
Did you play the 5-on-5 mode in that game?
No, I did not. I did not.
You didn't play the 1-5 fun mode in that game with the big head and the bobbleheads?
No, I did not.
That was an enjoyable mode in that.
I'm guessing Joey doesn't find that fun.
It was awesome. It was
He likes
5-on-5.
real
They all had
simulations.
big heads, and I would use Johnny Knox, and it was awesome. That was the best part of that game.
Yeah, I hardly remember that game. I know there was a lot of made up teams, which
You hardly remember the game, but you've made a life-changing decision that has totally impacted your career over it.
I wasn't into the NFL until like I saw the cover athlete Brett Favre, and I liked the colors. And
So
I thought,
you
why
saw
not?
Brett Favre, and you said, "Look at that man. That man is so inspiring. That man has done no wrong, and is
True.
one of the best Americans
True.
I've ever seen."
Whoa.
And my fandom is going to start with him. That's what you
Yes.
said.
Yes, it started
Wow.
with him.
Typical.
I didn't really get into watching the Packers until like I would say the 2009 season, mainly in the postseason where
they started winning.
They started winning, and then they fell.
what a shocker.
They fell
He's their
to
good
the,
luck charm.
They fell to the Cardinals in that wild card overtime.
Yeah.
The strip sack fumble.
Who announced that game?
That was Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
How many? What was that playoff game for them? Was that like 14 or something like that?
I don't remember.
You don't know? How do you not know? That's ridiculous.
I don't know. It was the
It's your
2009
bit.
playoffs. It was the year before they went to the Super Bowl and beat the Steelers. And guess who they beat along the way to the Super Bowl? Your Chicago
This
Bears.
is
Good
why
old-
I
good
don't
old
like
red
you.
colors.
This is why I don't. Why do you have to bring up my team losing? You don't have to bring that up. You can just say my team won the Super Bowl. Just
No,
be happy about it.
you were asking me how I became a Packers fan in my and just pretty much my upbringing.
You did ask that question.
All right. Speaking about bits, when did you first decide I'm going to make a mock schedule?
It was sometime around like 6 years ago. I was just bored. I was just curious how the schedule makers are able to complete a perfect schedule without any issues. You got to think there's a loophole.
No, you don't have to think. I've never thought about it before. I've never sat down and thought, how do they make the schedule?
I'm just intrigued in how they decide where to put a particular matchup on the schedule and how it all works out. Just kind of plugging in the equation, setting up the world's hardest puzzle.
The world's hardest puzzle?
Yeah, that's what
I think world
is.
peace is the world's hardest puzzle, Joey Colbert.
Yes,
I don't think it's figuring out whether or not
It's
Arizona
not a puzzle.
Yes, it is a puzzle.
It is a puzzle.
It is a puzzle, Josh.
Okay. I've been outvoted.
It's the world's hardest puzzle.
It is the world's hardest
You guys
puzzle.
agreed on something for the record.
Yeah, I hope that when we come together on world peace, I hope that's something that we would talk about. I hope Joey wouldn't be like, nah, not for it. So what year did you start doing this?
Well, this is my 6th year of doing it, so it's got to be 2020.
Yeah, I mean, if you do math,
it all starts with
6
COVID.
minus 26.
It all starts with COVID.
Always does.
No, it was the year after COVID. It was around that time, surrounding the COVID era.
So you got bored.
Yeah, I got bored.
And most of us drank and played NCAA.
I did that too.
14.
I did that too.
So you made your first schedule drunk?
No, I did not. I did not.
Whoa, new idea.
Oh, drunk schedules. Hell
That
yeah.
would be fun.
Like what if
That would be a massive
what if
migraine.
next year we had a theme and you only did it when you got hammered? Do you think you would be able to do it? Do you think you
I
would
could do it. I could do
Now-
anything.
Now, clearly, so humble.
You've been working with Connor Happer, haven't you?
Yeah. Jeez. Do you not like dogs now either?
I'm a cat person.
Yeah. And you know what? Why did I even ask? Why did I even ask?
Depends on the dog.
What do you mean depends on the dog?
Size of the dog. Big dog.
Okay.
I can't
Yeah, you can't do a big dog.
can't do big dogs.
Yeah.
Small
only
dogs.
small dogs.
Yeah, it's just dependent on the dog.
So you don't like coffee
Yeah, I don't drink coffee.
and you don't like big dogs.
Speaking of beverages, was that your Diet Coke? Just laying
A
to the
lot of
side?
people drink Diet Cokes, Joey Colbert.
I was assuming it was you because you famously left an open can of drink somewhere in the studio, and I'm always the first person in the studio to find
So
that.
you don't like coffee and you don't like dogs. Are you American?
I am an American.
That's great.
What kind of dumb question is that?
I'm sorry. Those are just two, great things of our society: coffee and dogs.
Yeah,
Connor hasn't rubbed off.
I don't
on
need
you.
coffee.
You don't eat coffee?
I don't.
Neither
need,
do I.
I don't need coffee.
Doesn't
I said
need.
need.
It's like me and Creighton.
You don't need Creighton.
No. I just don't say it correctly. Okay, so here's an actual question for you. Do you think we play too many international football games?
I think so too. And if you notice
Wow.
if you notice
A good
the
take.
if you notice the NFL international schedule, the one thing I've noticed are the matchups. They are solid matchups. They historically scheduled lopsided affairs.
They do.
And
It's
this
an
time
astute
around,
observation.
you have the Australia game. This was previously announced a couple months ago. The Rams hosting
Yeah.
the 49ers. Then you get Brazil, the 325 CBS over in, I think, Rio. That's going to be the Ravens and the Cowboys. Then you got the London series. The Jaguars are hosting 2 of them, and they're facing.
Well, yeah,
the-
they've always done that.
I figured they were going to face a division opponent there. I was thinking it was the Titans, but I was wrong. It was the Texans, and then they got the Eagles there. Commanders, Colts will be the first one out of the 3. Then I was shocked to see the Steelers going up to Paris to face the New Orleans Saints.
Why were you shocked about the Steelers going to Paris?
I just don't think. I just don't.
You don't think the Steelers is a Paris team? You don't think they fit the culture or mold of
don't.
Paris?
I don't think terrible towels fit over there. I was thinking the Packers might have ended up landing a spot there.
What team
Jordan
smokes
Love,
the
the city
most
of love.
cigarettes? That would be the team that I would put in Paris. Whatever team rips the most cigs.
That's a great question.
What team do you think rips? I think
Probably
Baltimore-
the Jets.
Probably the Jets. Jets fans for sure.
Yeah.
I could see Ravens fan, like just the Baltimore Ravens ripping cigarettes on the side.
Yeah, I could see that too.
And then the Mexico City game is a Sunday night game.
Yeah, it's a Sunday night. It's traditionally a Monday night, but that's going to that's the Vikings and the 49ers.
These are
week before Thanksgiving,
and
I think.
they gave CBS the Ravens Cowboys, as you said.
Yeah, and
So
then
it's
Fox,
not just early morning football. This year.
Fox has also picked up the Germany game. And
Did you get any of the international games correct?
I only got the Ravens and Cowboys. I'm not counting the Rams and 49ers.
What is your hit rate? What's your success rate? Are you trying to be accurate?
I'm trying to be accurate, but
You're not doing a very good job.
I only got one right out of the 12 confirmed matchups. There's 13 confirmed matchups, but I'm not counting the Australia game because that was announced.
Is there a game that you can play to find out other psychos who also do a mock schedule and then you compare the comparisons?
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a few people out there. They just
Are you in a group?
I'm not in a
community of you.
I'm working independently.
A subreddit.
An independent schedule contractor.
Yes,
Joey Culver.
I am.
Independent mock schedule contractor.
Yes, I am.
Would you?
I would think
join in with somebody. Would you join a group? Would you join a Facebook group?
No.
You like
what?
You're
not
the type,
really.
by the way.
Not really.
You like Facebook, don't you? You're on Facebook.
I hang around on Facebook.
That doesn't shock me.
I don't post there like I do on Twitter, which my following increased since this mock schedule I posted. I had a lot of traction over there, and then someone just tweeted out I inspired them to fill in a Tennessee Titans mock schedule.
You're an inspiration.
I am an inspiration.
What?
Shout out Charles Barnes on Twitter.
What's the most you've gotten right in 1 year?
I think it was
probably like 9 matchups.
I think 20% like of the schedule. Like,
oh, that's great. You got to be thrilled with that, right?
Yeah. And then it's gone downhill.
20%. That's a failing grade. I mean, that's what we're rewarding people for the Mendoza line now. Is that what we're doing?
We are.
We're handing out participation trophies for a fake mock schedule.
Aaron tweets in, "It's fun hearing the shoe on the other foot. Matt is usually being questioned negatively about why he is the way he is on crossovers. Now he gets the opportunity."
Yeah, he does.
What's your least favorite thing about me?
Well, the fact that you're
really
a Bears
open it
fan.
up here. No, even deeper than that.
Okay, you're leaving drinks out in the open.
No, that's too easy.
And then you're trying to pour a water bottle in the trash can when you could just use the sink.
You guys get so annoyed when I throw trash away and
Just
there's still
dump the
liquid left in it.
Just dump.
I gotta walk all the way to the
sink
bathroom.
and
I gotta
throw
walk all the way to the bathroom to
garbage.
dump up. It doesn't matter. It's in a plastic bottle. It's gonna be thrown out anyway.
I just don't like the trash bags being wet.
Are you the one who's taking it out?
Depends on who wants to do it. We
do you take out the trash here at the studio?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about. I'm thinking
I just
about
want to make
other
sure,
people.
like,
I'm
if
thinking
Schaefer
about
told
other
you you
people
have
here.
to do it, you don't have to do
Okay,
it.
real quick.
I'm thinking
if I
about
were
people
to
that clean
throw,
up
let's
after
just put
us.
this here. Look at this, right? Okay. If I were to throw this away right now,
Just dump it in the sink. There's still water in there.
No, there's barely any water.
Dump it in the sink.
You want me to walk all the way to the bathroom to dump
It doesn't
this
hurt.
little
You
bit
got
out?
2 legs. You could walk over to the sink.
Some people have no legs.
You ever think that you're like a 45-year-old man?
Yes,
trapped
I
in
am.
a 26-year-old
I'm
body.
an angry old man. I get told that a lot. I do.
Don't smile at me like that after saying that. I don't like it when you smirk at me. It's
That's just my
unnerving.
thing. That
It's
is just my
it's
thing.
unnerving. Okay. So you're Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
How do you think they're gonna be this year? I'm sad they got rid of my favorite coach of all time, Rich Bisaccia. I'm really gonna miss him.
Are you upset about the Packers losing Brandon McManus?
I'm very upset about
I
it.
noticed you sent out a 10-minute highlight reel of the Packers Bears.
Yeah.
I know you tagged me, but I decided to not acknowledge it because I know you're trying to poke the bear.
No. What do you mean poke the bear? I'm the bear. I'm the Chicago Bear.
You're the
All right.
cub.
You
You're the
poke
cub.
me. No, buddy. No. First off, let me take this off. Look what I'm wearing right now. Right? Look what I'm wearing.
Oh no.
Look what I'm wearing.
Oh boy.
He's
Read it.
taking clothes off in
Read
the
it.
studio.
Read it.
Whoa.
Been there. done
Division
that.
champions. Hang the banner.
Yeah, we will.
Where's your
division?
Super Bowl?
Where's your division
Where's your
championship trophy?
Where's your
Where's your
Super
division
Bowl?
championship trophy?
Your Super
Where's
Bowl
your
is beating
division
the Green Bay
championship trophy?
Packers.
30 years of Hall of Fame
Congratulations.
quarterbacks who got one Super Bowl.
I applaud you.
Read them in week.
Congratulations.
I poked the bear. You aren't the bear. For you to be the bear, you would have to be the NFC North Division champion. You're not the NFC North Division champion. I'm the bear.
Fine.
You poke me. I own you. I beat you the last 2 times. I beat you in the playoffs. You shut your mouth, jabroni. Sit right there. I run the North.
For now.
I am the king.
Now let's try running it back with the first place schedule.
You're not one of you know better. You know better than to judge.
It's gonna be tough to go back to back. I'll tell you that. That schedule is gonna be very tough.
Do you think your team? How do you feel about your team? In all seriousness,
I think they can make it to the playoffs. It's probably gonna be a wild card team. I'm interested to see what Matt LaFleur can do.
Do you think everybody in the NFC North is just penciling themselves in as a wild card team?
I believe so.
I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody is writing themselves in as the division champion.
Anybody could win the division. That's kind of why I'm hesitant on picking the Packers to win it, because I know the Bears are really good. They got a great quarterback. The Vikings got a well-run team. Then you got the Detroit Lions. They've done it They didn't do it last year. They finished
They're
last
terrible.
place, but they had 2
I think they're
number
gonna
one
be,
overall
I think
seeds.
they're going to be very good this year. I think they're
It's going to be a tough season. I'm intrigued to see how the schedule is going to
tougher
look
division,
for the NFC,
NFC
teams.
North or NFC West.
I would say NFC West because they've been consistently
Really?
hitting the playoffs on a
See,
high.
my whole thing about the San Francisco 49ers at this point is like, everyone's like, well,
But they got Kyle Shanahan. He's
no,
he's a
I know,
great
but
head
let me
coach.
finish. Let me finish. Like, and I think you'll agree with this. Everyone's like, oh, if they're healthy, if they're healthy, if they're healthy. Well, you just run to a certain point where you're just old and you're not healthy. You know?
Yeah.
And I just think they've been running with the same guys over and over again. I just think that's the story of their team, that they are just an older team. And you can't trust them to be also too.
The only thing you could trust
Go
the
ahead.
49ers to do is to beat the Packers in the postseason. And I have to be careful with how I talk the NFC West because they have the Packers.
What, they're going to
number.
come and get you?
Yes. They are the Packers boogeyman.
Why you just got very scared and silent over there? Are you? It's that bad.
Yeah, it's that bad. The Packers haven't beaten the 49ers in the postseason
Oh,
since 2000.
hey, I'm aware, Joey. I'm aware. I'm very
Yeah,
happy.
they're on a 6 or 7 game losing streak in the postseason.
Don't do 6-7 ever.
There you go, Josh Hodson.
There you go.
I'm hip. I'm with it.
How many wins do you think the Bears got?
I think the over and under is gonna be 9.5. I think they're gonna have around 9.5. I think they could get to 10
Would
wins.
you bet the over or the under? Be honest. Be honest.
I honestly think I'm gonna bet the over just because.
Whoa!
Really?
I would not touch that thing.
I think they are better than the Lions. They are better than the Minnesota Vikings.
I am kind of afraid of the Vikings.
FanDuel has it at 9.5. Good job, Joey.
Very good job, Joey. I
usually that way.
I think that I'm afraid of the Vikings. Now, did you see that Kyler Murray threw 3 interceptions in the first 7 pass attempts?
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. I can't
imagine having a little guy be your quarterback.
I'll be paying attention to
Are
Justin
you
Jefferson
kidding me?
in the sidelines.
Are you kidding me, Mike Schaefer? He's have a 5'9" guy as his quarterback.
Who does he want? 9 or that?
I'd rather have him than Bryce Young,
Yeah.
though. I mean,
That's true.
Austin Jacobson. Imagine rooting for that guy. Imagine rooting for Bryce Young. That'd be terrible. All right, Joey. This was something.
Do you think the Bears are going to open the season at Seattle?
They better. Can you do something about that?
I
Do
mean,
you know? Have you contacted anybody?
I
in the NFL?
haven't. I sent word on social media. I said I will go up to the headquarters and protest if they scheduled the Super Bowl rematch, the Patriots and the Seahawks. I don't think that's going to be an exciting game. I think
it wasn't an exciting game when it actually mattered.
Yeah, it wasn't exciting when it mattered, but the Bears have been proven the most exciting team last season, and I think why not start the season off with a banger?
I don't think that the Seahawks or the Patriots are really going to be one of the best 5 teams at the end of the season. I don't think they're going to be one of the best
No.
7.
It'll be interesting to see what the Seahawks are like without Kenneth Walker.
We're doing this whole thing with Seattle where it's like we're respecting them because they are the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
And I'm fully down with that. They still got Darnold, they still got JSN, they got Amon-Wari. Mike McDonald's a genius defensive coordinator. Don't get me wrong, but they lost a lot. They lost a lot of really, really good players. So when you go and you get a haircut, what do you ask for?
Just a generic cut. I have a
that's not if you go to a barber and you go, I want a generic
stylist
cut.
that takes care of the job.
What do you go to, like Rock Hair Scissors or something like that?
No, I go to.
Do you go to like a punny barber?
I go to a place that's nearby my
Supercuts?
No, it's not one of those generic places. It's one of more of the.
So wait, you get a generic haircut, but you don't go to a generic place?
I don't go for any fancy stuff.
I mean, clearly, I'm looking at it right now.
Well, yeah,
but you go to a fancy barber.
This is like 4 weeks after the last appointment.
But I'm just confused because it's nothing special, yet you have to go to a specialist for it.
Yeah, it's someone that knows me. Why does that matter?
I just feel like you could get that haircut anywhere. I'm kidding. Now I'm being mean. Now I'm being too.
Sounds like you're kidding. Yeah,
I'm being.
I don't
too
care.
mean now.
I don't care.
You look great. I'm happy you're here.
I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, man.
Yeah.
So that's why my hair's the way it is.
Man wants to go home.
Yeah, why are you still here?
Yeah, I had a meeting today. I had a meeting
called Wacky Guess Wednesday?
Yes, and other things outside of the show.
Yes, you do.
I had to work. I'm busy.
You are.
He's got to call Ed Sheeran and be like, "Hey, what's the date? What are the dates? Give me the dates."
Oh yeah, because you look up what the tour dates.
Part of my process is going to the websites of every NFL stadium
All
to
right,
seeing what events they got coming up, and if it falls on a Saturday or Sunday.
All right.
It's a whole process.
No,
It's a whole
no.
process.
This is great. This is
The amount of care is incredible.
This is an actual.
You want to know how I determine my bye weeks?
How do you determine your bye week?
I go on the website, find a random wheel, just type in all the teams, and then just hit spin.
Oh wow!
That's
Do you
how I
think
do
they
it.
do that for the NFL?
No, they don't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You're going to get to the
Because
NFL
they're-
schedule
they're-
headquarters and they're going to be like, we place buys here. We actually think about buys. You're like, oh, we didn't do this back at home.
Well, the only buys I really think of are the teams that are playing in like Australia's week 1, but like Germany, Madrid traditionally have a bye week the week after.
have you ever been making the schedule and you go, damn it, and you're like, this doesn't fit, and you're like freaking out because the puzzle pieces won't come together?
It happens, and then I
Have you? What's
I-
the most you've ever had to reset the schedule?
Well, just this past schedule, I thought the Mexico City game was going to be week 13, but they
Oh,
announced it was a
no.
week 11. So
Oh, no.
I had to redo half of the schedule just to make it work.
Really?
Yep, I did, and then I
Just for you to not correctly predict who's going to play.
yes, just to be inaccurate in my prediction. It's a hobby. It's something I look forward to doing every year. It's just one of my favorite things to do.
Joey,
we all have unique hobbies, and this is one of my favorite hobbies. One of my favorite things to do. Since I was a kid, I've always been intrigued on TV times for football games. So this is kind of turning something into a craft, and
it's very impressive.
Yeah,
it's very impressive. It actually is very impressive. It's impressive how much time you put into it. I love people who are passionate about things, and you're very passionate about this. And it's nice to see you exude your passion. And now people know your passion, and people like to talk to you about your passion.
Yes.
So I think it's very, very cool. I think that this is actually something be really cool if you end up actually doing this type of stuff, like for the NFL, and which I think it's unique to the point where not a lot of people. I don't know how many people do what you do. So I think that's very cool.
There's a handful of people out there.
You got to make a group. You got to talk to them.
I like to work independently. The other people that do mock schedules,
You're
they don't put their real names out there. They just call themselves Aussie or NFL nerd or
Joey the
schedule
lone
enthusiast.
wolf for a cola.
Yes,
the lone. I work alone. I do my schedules alone. The lone wolf.
Hey, my
You want to give me?
I have a relative.
You want to howl?
I have a relative on one of in my family that has a unique art passion. So why not have an art passion myself?
It is an art passion. It's a puzzle passion.
It is.
Woo! Joey the Lone Wolf for Cola. Wacky Guess Wednesday here on Middays with Matt. I'm sure it was a pleasure for Josh. Coming up next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. I love you, Joey. I appreciate you. We will. Let me get my notes.
I did.
I know. I gotta find out what I have to talk about next. It's all here on
You
the
got like
notepad.
20 minutes.
Oh, a couple of storylines for the NFL heading into training camp. I have a couple. We'll talk about that.
I love that.
AJ Brown is going to be one of them. That'll be fun to talk about here on the 1620 Zone Radio.
Good get, Josh.
got a lot of comments coming in about our Wacky Guess Wednesday today. By the way, I am unnerved right now. John texted us, okay? Our favorite listener, John. Josh, he texted us something helpful.
Oh,
Like something. John texted us something nice. I'm kind of worried about him. I'm worried about his well-being. I hope he's okay.
what was it?
He goes, have Anthony Smith, Drew Jober, or Drake Ellenberger talk about the UFC. I actually met Anthony Smith at a Joe Rogan concert, the Lionheart. It was very nice guy. Maybe we do have him on. By the way, before we get into one of our final segments of the day, we want to remind you that Omaha is celebrating 106 years of the Cinco de Mayo Festival from May 15th to May 17th, located on historic South 24th Street, L through O. Join us honoring vibrant Mexican culture that shaped Omaha for over a century. Experience the richness of Mexican traditions, history, music, food, and art. Join us at the Cinco de Mayo parade on Saturday, May 16th at 9:30 as we march in the parade with our sister station and sponsor of the parade, Sweet 98. And we want to remind you to enter at 1620thezone.com for the Peak Playoffs giveaway. NBA and the NHL playoff season is happening while this contest is live. It's peak playoff season, and you can watch all the big games in style with a $250 Twin Peaks gift card. Also, we want to remind you that on Friday, Unsportsmanlike Conduct will be live from 2 to 6 p.m. at Twin Peaks, located on 179th and Dodge. I think I'll be there. I'll probably make a quick stop over to Twin Peaks, say hi to the boys, say hi to everybody who's enjoying their show. So that will be a very, very good time. Have you been to the Twin Peaks yet, Josh?
I have not. No.
I've never been to a Twin Peaks before.
Oh, ice cold beer.
Really?
Ice cold.
Oh, I think I'm definitely going. If you're promoting ice cold beer, I feel like I have to buy a Coors Light, right?
Perfect little
like that is the
litmus
cold.
test
That
for it,
is
yeah.
the cold beer. If your Coors Light is not cold, then what are we doing here? I think Twin Peaks will definitely have some cold Coors Lights to go and enjoy yourself a couple with Unsportsmanlike Conduct from 2 to 6 p.m. on Friday, 179th and Dodge on the Peak Playoff. Giveaway 1620zone.com to enter. Let's talk about the NFL a little bit. I'm going to tell you, I'm getting fired up because Michael came on the show. We had a great interview yesterday, and he got me going, and he got me kind of like revved for this NFL season. This is not a storyline that I think we'll be talking about heading into the training camps, but I'll say this: like after our convo with Severe, there are a lot of divisions that are going to be wars this year in the NFL. The NFC West, I do not know what's going to happen. The San Francisco 49ers are talented enough to win that division. The LA Rams, obviously the favorites, not only to win that division, but also win the Super Bowl. But you cannot forget about the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, which, yes, they've lost a lot. Got to remember, though, they had a really good draft a year ago, and that really, really helped them get to the Super Bowl. I know that they lost in some free agency, but Schneider is a guy that is known to be able to draft some instant impact guys. It'll be interesting to see how that transition plays with them after losing Kenneth Walker. But 32nd overall pick, Jadarian Price, type of guy where, I mean, Jadarian Price, was just the guy behind the guy in Jeremiah Love, and obviously did not get the reps that you would want a number one first round running back to necessarily get. But when he did get reps, it was something. Now, we've seen him more so in the NFL. There's some type of guys where you're like, all right, Alexander Madison, like he was awesome as a handcuff and he was awesome as a backup running back in Minnesota. Like, all right, he gets his opportunity and then it ends up not turning out great, right? Like there are just some guys in the NFL where they're really good backup running backs. And then you find out, when they're given, the bulk of the load, they can't necessarily hold it up with their shoulders. Jadarian Price, though, definitely does project to be one of those guys. So we'll see how Seattle recovers. But then the NFC North, man. I think every team in the NFC North is just penciling themselves in as a wild card team. I think every team in the NFC North is just saying, all right, we'll be a 6, we'll be a 7 seed, we'll be the 5 seed, we'll be whatever, because you got to play 6 games against 3 playoff teams in that division. I think that the AFC South is going to be super interesting between the Texans and between the Jaguars. And, you can't forget, Indianapolis was a super competitive team when Daniel Jones, along with Shane Steichen, was playing at a top billing. And then I think the AFC North is going to be wildly interesting as well. And then you cannot forget, and this might be the big one, the Chargers Broncos versus Kansas City is going to be a big deal in the AFC West. And that's my number one storyline heading into training camp, or when we get into the training camps, is Patrick Mahomes' status. Michael said it yesterday. I couldn't agree more. They had a good offseason. They had a really good draft. They if you look at the history of Kansas City, they trade their really good cornerbacks after a couple of seasons and they replace them. But not only do they trade these guys, they get off of them pretty quickly. Like you look at some of the history of these defensive backs that Kansas City has traded. One of them, L'Jarius Sneed. You look at what happens to these guys after they leave Kansas City. They often do not get back to being at the same level they were when they were wearing red and white. And it's just one of those things where they get off of McDuffie, they replace him with just a great prospect, and Mansour Delane. I really liked what they did with Mason Thomas. Kenneth Walker, one hell of a signing. And I know we know him because he's local, but I think adding Emmett Johnson, I think that's a perfect yin and yang in terms of what the backfield is going to look like. We got to remember, man, like one of the bigger storylines last year during the beginning of the season was Patrick Mahomes for a good chunk of the year was the Chiefs' leading rusher. I mean, that run game was just non-existent for Kansas City. And so to have, that tandem, not only a tandem that is going to be threatening to defenses, but a tandem that's proven, a tandem that's very elusive, but also a tandem that's very versatile. And Kenneth Walker can catch the ball, and he did catch the ball plenty, especially during his great run in the playoffs. But you add what Emmett can do, especially just kind of lining up, whether it be in the slot. Hell, Emmett's the guy that lined up out wide in college a couple of times and ran some really good routes. I like what they can do in the backfield with those. It's just all of that doesn't matter if Patty isn't ready to go.
They announced that the Chiefs will host the Broncos on week 1 Monday Night Football, which I think is kind of a weird, like the vibes are going to be really weird if Justin Fields is rolling out there as the starting quarterback.
Totally forgot they signed Fields.
I Googled it while you were talking.
I found out today when I was going through their free agency, like they added Kenneth Walker and then they added a bunch of depth pieces, but they did what they needed to do. And they still got Simmons is developing on the offensive line, and you got Humphrey and Smith. Like they could be better on the O-line, but they're going to be fine. I get a text from Mike Schaefer.
Hi, Schaefer.
No respect for the NFC South. Sad. I mean, the Saints were like a game and a half away from making the playoffs, and they're not very good. Sorry, Severe. Sorry. They're going to end up winning more games than you think, though, the Saints are, because they play a terrible schedule. And then just like everybody rubbed it in about the Bears, I'm going to rub it in Severe about it and tell them that it doesn't really count. Bing. Second biggest storyline heading into training camp. A.J. Brown and his new team. This is less to do, I think, with impact and more to do with the production value of what is going to happen. When A.J. Brown gets to his new team, probably going to be the Patriots, all you're going to see on ESPN is the video of him catching the ball and him running around and him breaking. And, we're going to put the microphone in his face and be like, how do you love catching a ball from Drake May, AJ? And he's going to throw a dig at Jalen Hurts. He's going to be like, oh, it's really great to catch a ball from a quarterback who puts it really in front of me. Or it's really easy catching this ball. It's probably the easiest ball I've ever had to catch. We'll all freak out about his jab at Jalen. We'll ask Drake May, how is it to throw to an elite wide receiver like AJ? We'll put the camera in his face. It'll be a big deal when AJ Brown touches ground in New England. Or, and this is the scary one, and talk about a team who always says, F them picks. We're going to do what we got to do to win a Super Bowl. If he goes to the LA Rams, were...
Whoa, I hadn't thought about that.
Like, we're pretty content as well with being like, Devontae, we might trade you. Like that was a possibility for them to move off that.
Just gonna have to move that Taco Bell again.
Dude, Les Snead is a killer. Les Snead does not care. He's gonna do what he needs. It's a business with Les Snead. They have the ability to do it. We'll see if they'll go ahead and they get AJ Brown. I mean, it'll be, I wouldn't say it's a wrap or anything like that, but their odds with the Super Bowl are going to tank big time. But AJ Brown. Where's he going to be? That'll be a big training camp story. And I think one big training camp story that's very underrated, new places and new faces. I mean, I think it's not only intriguing to me, like who the faces are and what they're inheriting, but it's also teams that like are either in big markets, are either legacy teams that never changes coaches, or teams that have very interesting decisions or very interesting rosters. Work with me here, right? We're going to have a camera on John Harbaugh's face all the time when he's in New York. I mean, that's going to be a big deal. And I think the Giants have an opportunity not to be great. I wouldn't even put good out there, but I think the Giants are going to be a little bit more feisty than people are going to maybe anticipate them to be. We're going to like the Steelers and the Ravens having new coaches is going to be so weird to everybody. Watching those first couple games and not seeing John Harbaugh on the sideline in purple and black and not seeing Mike Tomlin on the sideline coach from the Steelers is going to be weird. And those are two rosters that, I mean, I think that the Steelers have to pivot at some point and just be like, look, you know, we're fine, we're okay, we're good, but we're not good enough right now to win a Super Bowl. And like with Lamar, you know, we're getting to the point where if he suffers another injury and he has another lost season, that we might start asking the question, did the Ravens lose their Super Bowl window? Did it close on them? Did they not capitalize on it? Was it that year where Snead punches out the ball at the goal line of Zay Flowers reaching over to win that AFC championship game, or, you know, would have led to them winning that AFC championship game more than likely? Was that it? Was that it? Was that the opportunity? Was that the moment? And was that the moment it closed? And we'll see what happens with Minter and the Ravens, but I'm very intrigued in what's going to happen with Las Vegas and Clint Kubiak. Hell of a year in Seattle, did a great job as the offensive coordinator. Going to go, I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be the truth. I think he's going to be a really, really good quarterback for a long time. I think that throughout the season, really before training camp, like there's a lot of interesting little, hey, this guy's in this new place, this place that we've known for them to go in this direction. They're now heading in this direction. How are things going to change? And who the hell is going to be Todd Monken's starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? They got Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Taylor Green, Deshaun Watson. Is Kenny Pickett, small hands Pickett, still on that team?
Let's find out.
Tiny hands, Kenny?
I'm reading Panthers.
Talk about it. Swing and a miss from the Steelers. My goodness. They've been doing a lot of that when it comes to the quarterback position post Ben Roethlisberger. And will Aaron Rodgers even be the quarterback? Well, that'll probably. But you got to think that before training camp, we know, right? I mean, what are we doing here? Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. But it is Aaron Rodgers. Who's surprised? All righty. We're going to hit a break. What to watch coming up next. And a dog of the day before we head to the crossover here on 1620 The Zone. Josh, before you tell us what to watch, I need to remind the people of the Bananas and Bangers sweepstakes. Tell us your walk-up song at 1620thezone.com, and you will be eligible to win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see Savannah Bananas play at Memorial Stadium on June 13th. $200, and on top of a sweet and $200, you get a free duct cleaning. $900 value from McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. All this provided by our very great friends at McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. What are we watching tonight, my man?
We're going to watch the NBA playoffs. Cavs and Pistons, Game 5 tonight from the Motor City, 7 o'clock on ESPN. That series tied at 2. And the no good, terrible week of sports begins for minute. You had fun last week, right? Minnesota sports fans.
I had so much fun last week.
Yeah, Minnesota sports fans, you turn into a pumpkin this week in 2 different leagues. The Wild are in Denver to take on the Avalanche tonight at 7 on TNT. A win advances the Avalanche to the Western Conference Finals. Baseball on our TVs, Angels and Guardians right now on MLB Network, followed by Phillies, Red Sox at 5:30 in your nightcap. Out west, Giants, Dodgers, WNBA doubleheader on USA. It is the Aces and the Suns. See them while you can at 7 o'clock tonight. And the Fighting Caitlin Clarks are who, by the way, they're calling Jeremy Lin now on the internet. The Fever are in LA to take on the Sparks at 9:30.
What about Jeremy Lin?
The internet today has begun calling Caitlin Clark Jeremy Lin. I don't know why. I guess that means she was just a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking that to mean.
That is insanity. My
Linsanity.
My homie Stoudemire. All right. We're taking a tank. We're taking the South Side Samurai, some are calling him. Munetaka Murakami. Plus 300 to hit a home run tonight against the Kansas City Royals. That is what we're going to go with. What a steal from the Chicago White Sox. I was reading an article on it. Basically, the analytics did not like Munetaka Murakami, so that's why the Sox signed him. Because they're not necessarily the analytical department. So all the other analytic nerds were like, we don't think he's going to be able to keep up with the speed of the MLB pitching. Well, one of the best power.
No.
Yeah, that's what happened. He actually turned out to be one of the best home run hitters in the league to start the season in Major League Baseball. Munetaka Murakami, plus 300 to hit a homer tonight against KC. Book it. Thank you so much for listening to us today. We had a fun show, man. It was a good time. Got educational. We got funny. We talked about some random stuff. We talked about some serious stuff. We talked with a wacky guest, Joey Colbert. Shout out, Joey, the lone wolf, for coming here on the show, hanging out with us. And John Walker, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow on Middays with Matt. USC and the crossover coming up next.